All right, everybody. Hello, hello. I turned my mic down too far. Let's make sure we're live everywhere. You know how that goes. I'm trying to get our light fixed here. There we go. I don't know. I never can get it right. You can't shine it right at you, or you look like a crazy person. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. It's hard to tell on this screen. All right, let me see, make sure we're good on Rumble. And let's see. There we go. We're good. And we'll mute that. There we go. All right. How is everyone tonight? If you're here, say hello. What a week. I convinced you of what? Why do I not? I can't hear me. There, I can hear me now. What did I convince you of? Whew, it's getting hot in here. Let's see. I got my hair all up because it is just blazing hot. Don came down here and turned on the AC for me, but still I say it's hot. Welcome everybody. This is the Nurse Penny Show. If you're new here, we don't discuss just healthcare. In fact, that's very little of what we discuss. It's just called Nurse Penny because I'm a nurse. I told Don I should probably put that on there, you know, that it isn't just nurse stuff. Blogger D. Shmoo says if you don't press the like button, a roof of a soup kitchen will fall on the charity workers. That's horrible. I can't believe my viewers would allow something like that to happen. I still feel like our light's not good. I don't know. It's horrible no matter what I do. I had the light situation worked out really nicely when I was upstairs, and I can't tell if it's just the one screen or what the issue is. I don't know what the problem is. Hello, Mary Louise. Geez, okay, you convinced me. Wait, Kay, what did I convince you of? Happy Friday, Lisa. Well, thank you. I'm thinking I didn't pull it together well today. I appreciate that compliment. Lisa, I know that I have got an email from you that I have not looked at yet. It's just been a crazy week. The last kidney stone's out. Everything seems to be back to normal. Thank God. So my theory is that we should be able to pick specific elements based on your level of evil committed in life. So like pedophiles should get kidney stones. Somewhere a pedophile is missing his kidney stones. And I am happy to send him the ones that I keep getting. Oh, not me, Bloggerty got it. On the like button. I gotcha. Anyway, I think certain, irritable bowel syndrome, that should be a problem that people who are doing bad things to kids should get. Don't you think? I was like explosive diarrhea, definitely things that bad people should get, that good people should not get. Have been praying for you and your kidneys. Thank you, Rebecca. They are just so much better. I feel like somebody's been punching me in the back. And I've been having to hi Shay. I've been having to kind of stay on the heating pad because it just aches and aches. It's so funny because the doctor always tells me, oh, once the kidney stones pass, you won't have any more pain. And I'm like, that's just not true. When you have little sharp stones rip through your urethra or your ureters, I gotta think there's going to be some leftover pain. Did they analyze the stones? Mine are calcium oxalate stones. And the reason I keep getting them is because I had weight loss surgery after probably about a year after all of the intubations, because I had gained so much weight on the steroids, and no matter what I could do, I could not get the weight off. I mean, I followed the post-surgical diet for over 6 months pre-surgical and lost 2 pounds, and that was it. And that was just crazy. And it was so funny because I did exactly the same thing after surgery and lost the weight, but it kind of metabolically resets certain hormones, and so it was helpful. You will gain it all back and fast if you're not careful, though. So when my thyroid crapped out after COVID, and I kept telling the doctor, I'm freezing to death, and he's like, oh, it's just long COVID. Like anything you don't want to research, you just say it's long COVID. And so finally, after almost a year, I switched doctors, and she's like, you have almost no thyroid function. So finally, we got on that medicine. I've dropped about 15 pounds, and it keeps coming off. It's just slow. Bowling balls instead of kidney stones would be appropriate. Yeah, I agree. And really sharp kidney, because I got to think if you're peeing out rocks, sharp rocks, bits of gravel, it's going to slow you down on your molesting and raping. It's just a theory. I remember when my husband had kidney stones. This is a funny story. He would kill me if I knew I told you guys this story. One time I knew a guy who had kidney stones who wasn't my husband. And they put him on, I never can think of the name of the medicine that they put you on to like relax the ureter so that the kidney stones can go through. Flomax. So they put this guy on Flomax, and I think he was like 2 doses in. And this guy says to me, "Oh my gosh, what's going on with my man bits?" And you know how a man that that's not your husband, how you kind of know how far away his danglies are from his body, meaning the back danglies, not the front dangly. Hello, Danny girl. Suddenly that distance was incredibly increased. And I thought, oh my gosh, what if they don't go back? But I couldn't share that with him. And so I was like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure when you stop the medicine, they'll go back to normal. But I didn't know that. I was totally lying. And because he was freaked out, he's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I had no idea those things could, I cannot believe we're talking about this pre 9:30, but I had no idea that those things could relax that far away. But that man who isn't my husband, everything went back to normal. So that's good. And if you guys ever tell that I told that story, I'll lie and say I didn't. No, his kidney stones weren't funny. His reaction to a medication, a man's reaction to a medication, a man who isn't my husband. Shh. Lisa says, I gained a bunch of weight on gabapentin with shingles. I have never been able to lose it. Oh, wow. Yeah, see, I was on gabapentin for shingles, and they also give it to me after or during kidney stones. It's way more helpful than narcotics. I know it's a controlled, but it's just a controlled because people in eastern Kentucky ruin every good drug because they have to snort it and shoot it. So cancer people people with cancer can't get pain medications because people in eastern Kentucky have ruined it for everybody. What the hell is a back dangly? Well, you've got, hi, Gregson Jackson. If you're a male, you have the front dangly, and then behind it you have the two back danglies. It was the back danglies that became very relaxed. Like I'm thinking you might want to squat over the toilet and not sit, or the boys are going to go for a swim. There's actually a book, you guys. I should have sent this to me. So I was looking for books to read for book club. Oh yeah, those are the back danglies. I'm sorry. I should have given an anatomy lesson. I was looking for books on Amazon the other day for book club. And if your kids are up, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You've got like 10 seconds. Hi, Enlighten. You've got, no, not welder's ass. It's not the ass. What's between the very front dangly thing and the butt? The boys. The boys were very relaxed. So it was funny. This will explain it. I think this will be backwards though. But I think you guys can still read it. So if your kids are watching, stop. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you can't read it because it's backwards, it says, "Why are my nuts in the toilet water?" That's described. That's a book. You can actually buy that book on Amazon. Okay, wait, hold on. It gets better. PJ says coming in at back dangly is going to be a great show. I'm so going to hell. I just know it. Okay, wait. This book, and I have to read you the reviews. If your kids are watching, this is not going to be appropriate. And yes, I'm a Christian, but stuff's still funny, okay? The pumpkins finally got it. Yes, the pumpkins. I should have called it the plums, the pumpkins. Okay, this is an actual book. If your kids are watching, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's How to Live with a Huge Penis. Advice, meditations, and wisdom for men who have too much. And what's really funny about this one is the book description, and I have to read it to you. And you guys, this doesn't make you like less of a believer in God that you notice funny things. I get people that are like, you really shouldn't talk about that. Like, it's in the world. Why can't I talk about it? Here's the back cover for this book. Is bigger really better? Here, at last, is the first self-help book for men with oversized male genitalia. OMG. Here we thought OMG was O'Keefe Media Group. No, it's oversized male genitalia. A genetic birth defect that grows the P to absurd proportions. Every year, thousands of men are diagnosed with OMG. Sadly, most are banished to the fringes of society, victims of their own freakish length and girth. How to Live with a Huge P brings them an inspiring message of tolerance and hope, along with helpful information on unzipping, come out to your friends and family, sharing your pain, sexual intercourse with a huge P, big blessings, unexpected advantages of a huge P, and much, much more. I mean, do you just want, I want to buy the book just so that I can laugh, because that sounds flippin' hysterical. That would be a funny one for book club, but we do book club at 10:30 in the morning. Here's another one that I found that you guys might like. And I sent this to my friend Tracy. It's called Crafting with Cat Hair. It's a serious book about crafts you can make with cat's hair. And so I sent this to Tracy Beans, and I was like, hey, I'm going to buy this book and get busy on gifts for the kids for Christmas. Are your favorite sweaters covered with cat hair? Do you love to make quirky, one-of-a-kind crafting projects? If so, then it's time to throw away your lint roller and curl up with your kitty. Which seems funny after the last one we just read. Crafting with Cat Hair shows readers how to transform stray clumps of fur into soft and adorable handcrafts. From kitty tote bags and finger puppets to fluffy cat toys, picture frames, and more. These projects are cat-friendly, eco-friendly, and require no special equipment or training. You can make most of these projects in under an hour, with a little help, of course, from your feline friends. That's an actual book, you guys. I'm so doing it. We're going to do cat fur crafts. My doctor told me ionized yeast pills are good for kidney stones. So I tried it and got them. How did they work for you? Or there's always OnlyFans. You guys, I love you so much. Michael Hunt, 69. Good evening, my friend. You know what? If we can get Holden McGroin in here, I think I'm the only other podcast besides Bongino who has Holden McGroin as one of my listeners. And Bongino mentions him all the time. He mentioned him today. Janet says, I have to know, how do you find this stuff? That's so funny because Tracy asked me that. She's like, where do you find this stuff? I just was looking for comedic books. And I thought, maybe we'll read some Irma Bombeck, or, Irma Bombeck is, if you guys don't know who she is, most of my viewers are older, so they do. But Irma Bombeck is hilarious. She writes really good books about motherhood, and they're really funny. And I kind of steered away from it because we have guys that listen. But, they might still find it funny. If you can get hold of a grain. If you can get hold of a groin. If you can get hold of a groin. Holden McGroin. No, his name is Holden, Holden. McGroin is his last name. I don't make these things up. People pick, and he swears this is his assigned username on Rumble. And I'm like, well, that would work, except Rumble doesn't assign usernames. And if your teenager set up your account, your teenager screwed you over, Holden. I hate to tell you. Holden McGroin, if you're here and just lurking, which I doubt because he never lurks, I think one of your kids screwed you over. Book club was great, says Enlighten. It was. We finished The Return of the Gods Wednesday. Normally we do it on Tuesdays, but I was feeling pretty rough on Tuesday. Janet says, I have to know, how do you find this stuff? I do go looking for it. I didn't put like cat hair projects in there, though. They just, if you scroll long enough, you'll find stuff. Oh, you were just talking about pumpkins. Yeah. Holden McGroin. I'm so lost, Bloggerty. But anyway, so that's better, and I'm really happy about that. I reached out to David Crowley, who is our 9/11 physicist guy, and he And he's going to come on, I think it's the 24th. Let me look. And we're going to do a whole 9/11 show. And he's going to talk to us about the physics of it. I told him not to get too sciencey right up front, and then we'll kind of see how the questions go, because I'm not a great physics student, and a lot of what he says goes over my head. He's super, super smart. Um, but we'll see how it's the 23rd. Yeah, David Chandler will be Crowley. David Chandler, is it Chandler? I thought it was Crowley. Anyway, he'll be on the show. He's supposed to be sending me a bio and a headshot, so I'll be advertising or promoting that over the next couple of weeks, and that'll be really interesting. And I had been talking about doing for book club The Harbinger 2, and that is one of Jonathan Cahn's other books that talks about 9/11. And give me some feedback on that, you guys. I'm wondering if that's going to be a little heavy for summer, and maybe we put that off until fall. I just feel like there's a lot going on that might be really stressful for you guys, and I don't know if you want to get into like end time prophecy stuff 2 books in a row. So if it's too much, if you guys feel like you need a mental break, that's cool, and we can do that. We had talked about doing some children's books, just because one of the marks of an excellent children's book is that it appeals to both children and adults. And so I bought 2 books this week. I bought The Velveteen Rabbit, and I bought it in hardcover. I buy all books I love in hardcover. And my mom gave me The Giving Tree. And so we're going to read those next, while we're kind of deciding on what book we want to go at for book club. But if you guys want to stay really high and cerebral and end of days kind of stuff, we can go and do The Harbinger. That's cool with me too. I heard Bongino mention Holden. Yeah, I did. He did it today, I think. And Lighton says, I showed your near-death experience to a couple of friends today. They didn't have much of a choice. They were stuck in the truck for 2 hours. I was wondering if you would talk to us about God's love let... I'm guessing you ran out of characters there. I'm going to wait for you to finish that one. So anyway, there was all of that this week. But I'm so tickled to be past the kidney stones. I feel like, because you don't know when it's going to kick in. And so you're thinking, okay, maybe it's gone. And I can usually tell by where the pain is how close I am to passing them. Because once they drop into your bladder, they're no big deal. Oh, you want me to talk about God's love letter? I will do that. Lisa says, I love crocheting. Found a book called Takes Big Balls to Be a Hooker. Crocheting logbook craft kits for crochet. Oh, wow. We just went right to 9:30 p.m. content. And look how red I am. I'm so hot. It'll cool off in here in a minute. Almost lost 2 friends in that. One an air hostess and the other a passenger. If a traffic jam hadn't prevented them getting to Logan, they would have been on that flight. Yeah, a really good friend of mine was leaving with her husband for a trip to Italy that day. And she called me the night before and said, hey, if something happens to me, you'll take the girls, right? I'm like, oh, don't be stupid. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to be fine. And I really believed that. I think that's a little better. Then the next day I woke up and I went to clinicals. I was working in doing my OB rotation. And so we're delivering a baby, and that's when the planes hit, and it was just crazy. And so we didn't know where these planes had come from. There was talk that one of them had come out of Minneapolis, St. Paul, which is where my friend, and I call her my sister, she's a friend, but I've known her forever. Anyway, that's where they were flying out of. So we didn't know till about 4 o'clock if they were in one of the flights, or for sure because remember they had this other plane they thought was unaccounted for, another flight number or something. And so that's where we had worried that maybe she was coming out of there. I have a near-death interview that I did with David. I can never remember his last name. It's something Italian sounding. It's on YouTube, so if you just look for Penny Whitbroat. Anyway, he's got a show, and he lost his dad in the 9/11 thing, and so that's kind of an interesting talk. I don't think we talk about that specifically, but we talked about it outside of the interview. Mary Roach, best nonfiction funny books ever. Okay, hold on, I gotta write that down. Oh my gosh, what did I just do? Can I make it go away? Oh, look at that. They're like, she's an idiot. You're right. I'm just giddy because, are they pretty clean? Because there's a lot of great comedy out there, but it's so dirty I couldn't read it at 10:30 in the morning. Okay, I've got that one down. Mary Roach, got it. But anyway, yeah, I've got several books that I'm toying with. I really want to consider the time of year. Some part of me thinks maybe it's better to do a heavy book in the summer when you've got a lot of sunlight and you're getting outside and doing stuff, and less likely to be suffering or struggling with mood issues because of the lack of light. And then do lighter stuff when the weather's bad. Isn't it crazy how much thought I put into all of that? Um, I just, I just want to be so careful to be a spiritual help to you guys and not a hindrance. So it the input really means a lot to me. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling so much better. So much better. I couldn't be more grateful. I mean, I was teary, um, this morning when the whole event was done. I was just like, oh, thank God, that this is over, and took the gabapentin and my back eased up, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to be able to do something today without being in this constant stress state waiting for that next round of pain to hit. PJ says, I'm voting for a kid's book before 9/11 next week. Before 9/11 next week, as the news cycle is pretty tense as of today. I agree. That's what I was thinking. I've been watching the news and everything's going on, and people are really very anxious, and so I don't want to add to that. So yeah, we're definitely going to do the kids' books. I wasn't going to start right into that one, but the kids' books will be fun. The Velveteen Rabbit is such a great book. It's got so many good life lessons in it. I feel like I need to study up on the author a little bit and find out if she had a Christian bent or not. Um, and then Shel Silverstein's The Giving Tree. If I can get through that one without tearing up, it's such a great book. And then we're going to do Horton Hears a Who. That's one of the books I used in my after-school program with my older kids and the younger kids to teach about the sanctity of life and the importance of life, no matter how small or insignificant it might seem. It was so funny. I was talking to a pastor friend of ours, and I was telling him that we've got these two stray cats. The one we know who it belongs to, and the other one we don't. But neither of their families take care of them, and so Don is such a sucker for pets, and I am too. And so he sets food out for them. So they're kind of our outside cats, even though they're not ours. And so the mother of one of the cats, which we were able to get adopted out, the mother of one of the cats, and that cat we had thought we'd adopted out, but somehow it found its way back to the house. But that cat's mom was pregnant, and we knew she was pregnant, and we had this lady that we knew who works for an animal rescue, and she's like, well, just go ahead and bring him in, and we'll go ahead and spay her. And I'm like, well, you can't spay her because she's pregnant. And she said, oh, we do it all the time. It's better than those babies coming into the world. And maybe I'm overthinking it, but I mean, I just came home and I couldn't do it. And I told Don, I said, what kind of character do I have if I'll do this thing because the cat can't speak, and because nobody will know, and because it's convenient? Those cats are already created. They're already alive. They're going to be here in weeks. I just couldn't do it. And she just hassled me and hassled me about it. She's like, that's just silly. We don't need all these extra cats. I'm like, look, they're kittens. We won't have any trouble adopting them out. And they're already in existence. I can't just smite them because it's a stray and they're inconvenient. I just couldn't do it. And I mean, I know she thought it was ridiculous, but I don't know. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'm not judging anybody who has. I'm just saying I couldn't do it. Bloggerty Shmoo says, Logan has a piece of the towers representing 10 floors, and it's only 2 inches thick. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I told Don, I said, I may call you today. We were having this conversation. He's like, don't you dare call me and ask me about that. Which I agreed that I wouldn't, but I did not agree that I wouldn't talk about it. So here we go. More about Don. Or just some guy that I know that isn't Don that this happened to. So this person, this man that I know that may or may not be my husband, was in the bathroom after he got home, or no, after supper tonight, and he was getting into his PJs, and he was examining his chest. Oh, where the crawdads sing is good. The problem with, I generally will just do nonfiction, because if you do novels, you have to be able to do voices, and I'm not good at that. I mean, I can try it. I usually try to read them a little more terse, and but to have to keep track of different characters and voices is a talent that I don't have. But it's a great book. So anyway, this person that may or may not be my husband was in the bathroom, and he had his shirt off, and he says, "Do you think my nipples look further apart than normal?" Which I had never really thought about it. And so I'm examining him, and I'm like, and don't ever ask me. If you don't want to know something about your body and know like my honest thoughts, don't ask me, because I can't lie. I just can't. And so I said, "You know what? The right one looks like it's further out than the left one, and they both look further out than they used to be. It seems like they used to be closer to the center of your chest." And I didn't realize that with Don, I'm supposed to lie. I'm supposed to say, "Oh, honey, don't be silly. They look great. You've got a great chest." And then throw in something like, "I'm having trouble not jumping on you right now." I'm learning. I'm getting this wife thing down. It's slow. I'm trying super hard. Call him and ask what he thinks about your butt again. He loves my butt. The man, I'm telling you, I could be covered with mud and Dodd would think I'm sexy. He's so cute. Stiff, The Curious Life of Cadavers. Is that really a book? Okay, hold on. I have to write that down. Is that really a book? Tell me that's really a book, because I so want to know about that one. Oh shoot, I lost my sticky note. There it is. Hold on. Stiff, The Curious. I hope, if you just made that up, I'm going to be so disappointed. Stiff, The Curious Life of Cadavers. That sounds like something that's right up my alley. Yeah, I have that. We're going to do the Giving Tree. And then I've got most of Shel Silverstein stuff. I don't even have to order it. I want to know on this Book of Cadavers. Is that a real book? That's great. Maybe we should really read some hysterical ones, but I've got to read hysterical nonfiction because of the whole voice and keeping track of characters thing. So he's into women in mud. Nice healthy libido there. I know, for a 62-year-old man, he's got it going on, right? He's going to be 63 in October. I'm going to be 53 in August. What the heck? My grandson, my first grandson, who's born on my birthday, is going to be 11. He's past his first double-digit birthday. It's crazy. I can't believe my youngest grandson's going to be 6. It's going faster than my kids went, I think. I feel like I gotta get like more living in, because it seems to be going so fast. And before this 52 went really quick. And that was my working years and being a single mom with 3 kids, which drags. It's not quick. And that felt fast. So I can't imagine what the next 30 or 40 are going to feel like if I'm blessed to have that long. Okay, so Enlighten asked me, hold on, let me scroll up here. There it is. I showed your near-death experience to a couple friends today. They didn't have much of a choice. They were stuck in the truck for 2 hours. I was wondering if you would ask, or if you would talk to us about God's love. Letter. Yes. So I don't know if you know the story behind that, but when I had my near-death experience and I woke up in the ICU, the first thing I said to the nurse was, "I was with God." And she said, "Oh, that's nice, dear." And I'm like, "No, I mean just now. I was just with God." And she says, "Oh, that's nice." Goes and gets my family. My family visits for a while. They all think I'm crazy. And they leave. And then the nurse pulls the curtain to the room, because it just had those sliding glass doors. The nurse pulls the curtain, and this light appears in the room in the corner, and it's God, and it scares the crap out of me, because God doesn't generally pop in on you. And so I screamed, and he laughed, which made me laugh. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you scared the crap out of me." And And he said, I said, I didn't know you were here. And he says, I'm always here. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're always here, but I can't always see you. You don't just pop into rooms like that. And of course he knew what I meant. And he gave me that love letter um, for the world that I kept to myself for years because because it felt so intimate to me. I didn't want to share it with anybody else. And I've read it to you guys, so I'm not going to read it tonight. I think almost everybody here has heard it. Um, but it was just this love letter to God, or from God to the world, to remind everybody that he's still here and he still loves us and he's still intimately involved, and that we've walked away from God. God hasn't walked away from us, and that he wants that close, intimate relationship with us. And, you know, it was just an expression of that just I still have a hard time reading it. It gets me every time. Bloggerty says, did it have a shadow? Wait, hold on. It will only get worse. There's more years behind than ahead, so it all gets yeah, I'm sure. Did it have a shadow? The light in the room? Not that I noticed, no. But, you know, it's like if you've got like I've got this light on here, and that light is right there in that spot, so there's no room for shadow. I mean, I don't know. The whole room lit up, but the concentration of the light was in the corner, if that's what you're asking. So it's like having a very, very bright light on in the corner. And the cool thing about the light is it doesn't hurt your eyes. Like, I didn't even feel my pupils constrict, which you usually kind of notice when you're suddenly hit with bright light. But it's not like that. You don't feel the change in your eyes. And so there's this super bright light that's in the corner that's lighting the room with this really strong focus in the corner. So there was no darkness in the room. That's interesting that you mentioned that, because I'd never really thought about that before. That's almost good enough to write a chapter on. I need to write that down. You guys are full of great stuff tonight. Hold on. The God light. That's so funny. What a profound thing to realize. In the ICU, left no shadows. Got it. That's a good chapter. Think of what to call that one. Was it solid? It's hard to say, because I'm trying to think of something. So like fire's not solid, but fire looks solid. So if you're in front of an inferno of fire and it's those big orange flames, it looks like it's solid, but we know it's not, because we're intelligent enough to know about fire. But it looked solid in that way, if that makes sense. Super funny and true. Yeah, definitely. You guys are just, why did I even plan content tonight? You guys are great tonight. If it was solid, it would have a shadow. Oh! I'm just glad to be in the room with you people. And yes, I called you these. I didn't call you those people. Just you people. Look at this crazy hair. Do you guys ever switch your part in your hair, where you part your hair to, like, normally I go this way and it's this way tonight, and so I imagine trying to do your job with a mirror in front of you. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but God designed us to be attracted to faces. And so you notice, like, when you're holding a baby, like if you've got a baby that doesn't make eye contact and doesn't look at your face, there's something not right there, because we are drawn to look at faces. And so if you put your image in front of you, it's not that you're arrogant or conceited. It's just that your brain is cooked in a way that makes you drawn to faces. So you'll keep looking at yourself. So you'll see that your sweater's not laying right, and that you got this little string here that's kind of in the way of your necklace, and, you know, oh gosh, that is too much of my chest. I should just move the camera out of screen. But see, I can't see you guys, and so I feel like I can at least talk to me, which is how I live most of my life anyway. Michael says, I'm just glad to have hair, let alone party. This is the great thing about guys. Guys can be bald. And I think bald men are very sexy. And even men who, like, wear their hair super short. Dom's got curly hair. I love curly hair too. He won't wear it curly, but I love it curly. but even like super, super tight to the head. I just like short, short hair on men, and I like bald men. And see, as women, we don't have that option. When I had to go on chemotherapy years and years and years ago for vasculitis, my hair started falling out in clumps. And I'm not, I'm not, I, for me, I look how I look. I don't beat up on myself about it, or I try not to. I feel like I have a pretty decent level of confidence, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to keep trying to style over these bald spots. Um, I'm just going to shave it all off. This is stupid. It actually looks worse than it would if I just had a bald head. And I've had my hair really short before. I cut that hair off, and I was amazed at how much less female I felt. Isn't that crazy? I was shocked by it. I'm like, wow, I can't believe it's really bothering me this much. And I thought, okay, well, this is crazy. So I had some scarves, and I thought, I'm going to go buy some wigs. So I bought like 3 wigs. I bought a red one that like came down to here and was super curly, and then I bought like a dark brown long bob, and then I can't remember what the other one was. Um, and one of the parents in my after school program, who I was really good friends with, came in, and he's like, "Wow, I really like what you're doing with your hair these days." And I looked at him. I said, "TJ, honey, you realize these are wigs, right?" And he's like, "What? What? No." I'm like, "How would I have red curly hair down to here one day, and then a shoulder length dark brown bob the next day, and then a different hairstyle, completely different the next?" He's like, "I don't know, you're girls. I thought you could do that." I'm like, "No, sweetheart, we can't." And so I explained to him that I just shaved it off because it was all falling out. And then in the summer, I kind of just went with caps and stuff because it was hot. But the funny part of this story is that there was this policeman in town who was never very friendly to me. He wasn't rude or anything, but he didn't give, like, if I was standing there and a skinnier, prettier girl was standing there, he would like not even acknowledge that I was standing there. And this was a pretty small town, and I always noticed it, but I was just like, "Ah, what a jerk." And so one day I was driving, and I can't remember if he was parked or at the park or what the story was, but I was at a stop, and he was like giving me the eye, right? And I thought, "Oh my gosh, he doesn't know who I am because of the hair." And it pissed me off. And so I whipped the wig off and had it out the window, and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And if you've never messed with people, having a wig and whipping it off is about the funniest thing that you can do, because the reactions you get should be recorded. They're hysterical. He didn't think it was very funny. But I thought it was funny. Hi, Rebecca. Um, Hi, Real Dream. Good evening, honey. Janet says, "My sister bought a wig for bad hair days. She calls it Rosita. It actually looks good on her." I have wigs just for fun. I don't wear them very often because they're hot. What I do have that I like are toppers. And so toppers are really expensive. Clip in, like the good ones you have to actually buy from a wig place. But like if you've got areas of your hair where you're having trouble, it's getting thin at the front or at the crown, toppers are really nice because they've just got little clips, and they just clip into your hair, and it just goes over the top of what you have. So if you have like a thin area where your bangs are thinning out, or you're getting thin at your crown or wherever, it happens to women a lot. We don't talk about it much. I've just always been really open about it because I'm like, I'm not the only woman who's having this problem, and we need to talk about it. Just like we talked about sexual dysfunction after hysterectomy. I'm like, no one talks about that. We need to talk about it because a lot of women suffer with it. But anyway, they're really nice because they're light and they're not super hot, and the hair is only on the top, though it can be long. But you can get them as short as you want. I know a lot of people who lost a ton of hair after COVID, or because of thyroid or other, Hashimoto's, all kinds of different issues. And I know women that are really, really self-conscious about it. And the great thing about the toppers is you can get them in real hair or synthetic hair. You can fix them the night before, or most of them don't even need any fixing. But if you're going to, wash them or anything, you can do it the night before, get on, just clip it in your hair and go. And it's easier than a wig. So those are good ideas for you. They're just called hair toppers. and they're fun. You have to play with them a little bit if you buy one and you get it on and it doesn't. I'll have to bring some on one day. We'll do an afternoon show and I'll bring some on and show you guys how they work. Hi, Isaac's mom. You think that's hilarious? RJ says, or no, Patty says, embracing my COVID curls that came in after 50 years of thin, straight hair. That's funny that you say that. So since COVID, my hair is, I don't know if you guys can see it. It is crazy. You can't see it because there's not enough light, but it's super, super curly. You can kind of see the curls. Debbie Bender, welcome, sister. We're talking about curly hair. You can't see it, but anyway, it's just a little bit more than beach wavy, which was weird because it came in wavy after I shaved it all off, and it was curly when I was a little girl, and as I get older, it just gets curly, more and more curly. I don't know why that is. Isn't that weird? If you guys know any hair stuff, let me know, because I don't know. Those Bible belt wigs are horrific. Well, I order them from online. The ones that you order from Amazon, the wigs are nice. You generally have to thin them out because nobody has hair like that. There we go. That's better. You generally have to thin them out with some thinning shears, but I've done that. I've done videos on it on Facebook. RJ says a podcaster had that topper and it slipped down to the side of her face. She didn't know, but did keep brushing it out of her eye. That's kind of like, do you guys remember the video where Rudy Giuliani, I can't remember what he was on talking about, but he uses, this is another option for you. They make this spray stuff that's colored, and you can spray it on your thin areas, and it just makes your scalp darker. It's much if you're losing hair and you have dark hair, it's much easier to deal with than if you're a blonde. It just is. But anyway, so he had these like black streaks running down his face. So like where I have thin areas or where I'm gray and I don't feel like coloring, I've got this eyeshadow that's great. It's really dark, and I just use this kind of flat, stiff, bristled brush, and I'll rub it down here where I'm getting grays, and it'll put it right back to brown, and it holds, for a day or two, because I usually just wash my hair every other day. Topper's writing this down. Mike, get it written down, buddy. If you wear a topper, we can get one that has a shifting part, and then you can part it. I meant what you did to that officer. Yeah. Debbie, well, okay, Debbie's moving. Debbie, what are you doing? Debbie's on Facebook. She's on Rumble. Move myself over to Rumble. Real Dreams, welcome. My hair got very curly after early menopause due to surgery. It was straight. That's interesting. I've been in menopause since 32, though, because I had a hysterectomy. RJ says, bah, he was talking about the evidence with the election theft. Oh, yes, and took over the panel as his sweaty black hair dripped down the side of his face. So the spray stuff, it will run if you're sweating like crazy. I find the shadow stays better. And it's just a real easy fix. Like if you've got some gray or your roots are starting to show and you don't have, what is this show about tonight? Your roots are starting to show. Those little shadows really help. Or if you're getting thin in the front, you can just kind of put a little bit in there and it'll make it like you're not quite so thin in the front, which is nice. There's a product called Gray Away that I used. It's a powder. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff. It's exactly what you're talking about. I use the eyeshadow though because it's way cheaper. Just get a matte one. Don't get one that's got any sparkle to it. The stuff that is actually for that is so expensive, and they just give you such a little bit. Whereas eyeshadow you can buy for next to nothing. And that works really nice. RJ says he was interviewed after that and laughed his butt off about it. It was nice to see him be playful about it. Yeah, he's a drinking man. And he struck me as being a little bit lit that day. I don't know how heavy he drinks. The tale is that he drinks quite a bit, but I don't know him, so I don't know about that. Patty says, I'm on all three with my multiple monitors to keep up with the comments. So you know what I do when I'm in chats, and a lot of you know me from other chats, because I go in and I try to help build community in other people's chats, not because they ask me to, just because I feel like we've lost so much community with COVID. And so where people are having they're working. I like to go also into people who don't have a huge following, and I like to go in and start putting tips in their chat. And first of all, because it's very encouraging to them. So, you got somebody who's got 500 followers and they're killing themselves. They're doing daily or 3 times a week podcasts, and nobody's leaving any comments during their live stream. Nobody's leaving any tips. And so I throw some tips out there and some comments. And if anybody makes a comment, I make sure to engage that person back. And what'll happen is more people will start talking, and it helps them build their chat. And to me, the Rumble community is more important to me than any individual podcast. Mine too, because this platform is so important. And so I do. I probably spend 3 hours a week going in and trying to help build community in other people's chats. They don't know it. They see me interacting in their chats, but I like to throw a tip out there because it really shows them that their hard works, even if it's just $1. It lights people up. I suffer from Graves, hair loss, and Betty Davis eyes. That sounds lovely, and I'm sure you're beautiful. Oh my goodness. Try the toppers. And the other thing is, if you can't wear the toppers because the clips are in the front, you can always move the clips or add clips to where you have more hair, because you don't want traction hair loss. But the other thing they make are these headbands that are they're a special headband for wigs and for toppers. And you wear that headband, and then you can just slide the clip under the headband so that you don't have any traction hair loss in the front, so it doesn't get worse. Curly hair in older women happens after looking at too many back danglies. If you're here late, back danglies, we discussed a little bit earlier. And back danglies, when we're talking about the male anatomy, there's the initial front dangly. That's one thing. And then right behind that are the 2 back danglies, and then behind that's your butt. And we had a little trouble establishing what I was talking about with back danglies. Dry shampoo that's colored. Do they make dry shampoo that is colored brown? Because every kind I've ever found is white, and it leaves this white residue in your hair. That's why I don't use it. My younger sister, says Debbie, has recently been diagnosed with alopecia. It's painful and requires scalp injections. Has she tried the oral med for that? I wonder if her condition is from her bout with COVID. It might be, and she needs a complete thyroid panel done before they start injecting her head with anything. And the complete thyroid panel, you guys, I'm going to pause for a second so you can write this down. A complete thyroid panel is not a TSH. A TSH is thyroid stimulating hormone, and that tells us what your pituitary is doing in relationship to what your thyroid is doing. I had a doctor, my mom's doctor, swore to me that endocrinologists say you only have to check the TSH. And I said, well, now wait a minute. That can't possibly be true for every person. And my mom has celiac disease, and people with celiac disease don't convert T4, which is inactive thyroid hormone, to T3 as well. And I said, I want you to check her T3 and her T4. And so she did it begrudgingly. Her T3 came back almost nothing. And if your T3 is low, your blood pressure will be elevated, your blood sugars will be elevated, you'll be gaining weight. Blood pressure's blood sugar. There's another one. Blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. Your triglycerides will be high, your good cholesterol will be low, your bad cholesterol will be high. That's all related to thyroid. So I always tell people, don't go on a statin until you have your TSH, your T3, your T4, and you can also have your TPO, which is your thyroid antibody, checked. But if you've got thyroid issues, or you think you've got thyroid issues, don't ever settle for just a TSH. Now, it's okay if in the monitoring, once you're stable, they just check TSH and do a whole panel once a year. But you definitely want all those checked. And really, we'll come on here one time and I'll put up the information for that so you can share it with your doctor if that's something you're struggling with. Michael says, Miss Penny, I am not going to buy Bud Light now. I've not done much on that. Is that because you don't want to turn into a girl or become confused about your gender, or do you have another personal reason you'd like to share? Debbie says, I'm not sure what all tests she's had, but I'm sure well, yes, she may have had thyroid tests, but I'm guessing she's probably only had a TSH. So have her ask her doctor about a T3 and T4. And if she's got alopecia that's bad, I would also check a TPO, which is the thyroid antibody. So T3, T4, TSH, TPO. My husband has vitiligo. Any tips for that? That's such a hard one. So vitiligo is a condition where you're losing the melanin. I can't think if that's the right word. Anyway, the stuff that gives your skin color, you're losing it in spots. And so you'll have like these really, my youngest son has like half of his torso is lighter than the other. He has vitiligo, and there's really not much you can do about that. I'll look into it though and see if there's any more. Let me make myself a note. See if there's any newer information on it, because I've not looked up vitiligo in a long time. Hold on, let me get a sticky note here. Look up, well, if I could type here, treatments for vitiligo. In the meantime, if it's on his face or somewhere conspicuous, there are some really good foundations that stay well, that cover that if it's something that's really bothering him. RJ says Jada Pinkett and her fake alopecia. She may have alopecia. It may have been thinning out, and so she just went ahead and shaved it. I don't know why she's got to be such a bitch about it. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean, I'm speaking about behavior, not about her as a person. I just think, I feel so sorry for Will Smith. I'm like, that has got to be the most whipped man I've ever seen. And he seems like a really good guy that would be a good husband. I just think what she's done to that relationship with her open marriage ideas is awful. And it's very hard on a man. It's probably very hard on anybody, but I think for a man to know that his wife wants to sleep and is sleeping with other men, that she doesn't have, it's bound to make a person wonder what they're not bringing to the relationship, what's lacking in them that you need to go look somewhere else. Her shots are steroid. Oh, okay, yeah, that's probably part of it then. Steroids cause hair loss. The docs think it's from glipizide and Ozempic. I don't like either one of those drugs, so I like glipizide better than Ozempic. I don't like Ozempic at all. The bad thing about these new diabetes drugs, you guys, when they test those in clinical trials, they test them against nothing, against a true placebo, which is stupid because we have drugs for diabetes. In order to have drugs that are way, way, way more expensive and carry a lot more risks, they need to bring a lot more benefit. So they need to test them against existing drugs to see if they're significantly better than the existing drugs that we have that are like $12 a month. But they don't. They test them against nothing. So it makes it look like there's really this profound difference. And they never mention to the doctors that they didn't test them against the existing drugs to see if they're any better. And so you'll get a doctor that's having trouble getting people's blood sugars down, and instead of doing a complete thyroid panel, because they don't understand that the whole body is connected and the thyroid has to do it with it causes issues with the way you metabolize cholesterol and triglycerides, which are carbohydrates in your system basically. They'll tell you triglycerides are because you're eating too much fat. They're not. If your triglycerides are high, it's probably a thyroid problem or because you're eating too many carbohydrates. And so the quick way to get that down is to drop your carbs and go with carbs that are vegetables and fruits. Limit the fruits to like berries and stuff, and avoid those carbs. And there's so many good options for avoiding carbs anymore. She's a bitch. This is RJ about, because it was fake. It was a shaved head, not a thinning, no bald spots. Really? RJ's looked into this hair thing. I'm going to trust her on this. Real Dream says, it's spread all over his body and his face. Seems worse around joints. And yeah, it's an autoimmune thing. Joints and mucus areas. I make him use a strong sunscreen. I'm going to look that up. I'm really curious about it now. I think about all of your guys' medical stuff, just so you know. Danny Girl says T3, T4 is a bit expensive too, so need to ask for it. Yeah, most insurance covers it. I've never had to pay extra for it. If you don't have insurance, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look and see if there's So do you remember that thing that Trump passed where hospitals were supposed to list their prices for everything? Most hospitals still have not done that. And so, like, I have to have, with Medicare, because I'm on disability, with Medicare, they cover completely your yearly or however often screenings, like mammograms, colonoscopies, unless they find something. Then once they find something, they consider the test to be diagnostic and you have to pay for them. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. So you find an abnormality that you need to keep monitoring. And in order to encourage the patient to continue monitoring as ordered, you start charging them for it. Why does it cost something to have it once a year to monitor versus having it once a year to screen? It shouldn't. And so, like, if I need to go have a mammogram now, it costs me $250, where before it cost me nothing, just because they found some densities in one of the breasts. And so now I don't go get mammograms because I'm like, well, it's $250. I don't have that just sitting around. I'm trying to get us, get our medical or my medical paid down, and that's crazy. And so now because of that, I don't have screenings done. I mean, I do self-exams, but that's it. Don keeps a close eye on. I'm sure he'd be onto something before what is this? This doesn't feel right. I'm sure if any I'm sure if any abnormality pops up with my behind, he'll let me know about that too. They also rebrand. Oh yeah, they'll rebrand, or they'll add something just a little different, or something that already exists. Like they'll take an old drug and add a little bit of it to the same drug that's patent is getting ready to expire, and then extend their patent. They're horrible, evil monsters. Hi Sheila. Welcome to you. This is a potpourri potluck of a show. I had a bunch of stuff planned, but you guys are just bringing the information tonight. Kay says Batiste brand makes a dark brown and a blonde tinted dry shampoo. What was it? Michael, are you getting all this down, buddy? Try this on your unpartable hair. They make a dark brown and blonde tinted dry shampoo spray in addition to, yeah, and here's another trick, you guys. If your hair is thin, you can wash your hair like normal and go ahead and use dry shampoo, and it adds volume to your hair and it'll make it look thicker. And Kay's brought really good information here about a brand that comes in certain colors. That's awesome. Good to know. I know some people use cocoa powder. So if you've got dark hair, they'll take just like a makeup brush and put it in cocoa powder and brush it in. I've not tried that, but I may try it just to let you guys know how it works, because it would be super cheap. And I'm all about not spending money that doesn't need to be spent. I'm not cheap, but I'm not a spender either. RJ says intralesional methotrexate effective for localized vitiligo lesions. Interesting. For topical steroids. Ugh. Topical calcineurin inhibitors and narrowband ultra. Okay, so you know what I would try before I tried any of that? If it's certain areas, I would try methylene blue and red light, because methylene blue goes in and repairs the mitochondria, and the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's where all of the energy in the cell is created. Think of it as like the electric station of your cells. And I love methylene blue. Methylene blue is a drug that's given IV for a condition it's like methylhemoglobinemia or something like that. But it can be taken internally. It can be used topically. As it sounds, it will leave you blue. But I find if you use it with the red light and you do it at night, it's generally gone in the morning. And the other thing you can try that'll make it not stain the skin so badly, like if I'm taking it orally, I take it in an empty VeggieCat pill so that my whole mouth doesn't turn blue. But the other thing that you can do is you can mix it with a little bit of olive oil, or castor oil is great for the scalp. Or you could use like an aloe vera gel, but something that's got some slimy oiliness to it, right? And just put a drop of methylene blue in there. It goes a long way. It'll stain forever anything you get it on. So I spread out paper towels. I'm real careful with it, but it's easy to dispense without making a huge mess. Anyway, put a drop of it in there and mix it up, and then put it on the scalp where it's thinning. Or if you've got a wound somewhere, or you've got a toenail fungus, that takes a long time to clear up, but it works. And it's non-toxic. And the only thing is you cannot take methylene blue orally if you are on SSRI antidepressants. So Paxil, I think Lexapro is an SSRI. I think Wellbutrin might be, what's the other one? Prozac, I think, is an SSRI. So because but the good thing about methylene blue taken orally is it's very effective for depression. The only problem is you would have to go off your antidepressants to figure that out, and that might not be safe for some people. But I love methylene blue for detox. I like it for anybody who's having troubles with oxygenation, who has COPD or anything. It hyperoxygenates the cells. It's just a great thing. There's a guy who seems really weird on Rumble, but his information is accurate. And he's called Sunfruit Dan, and you can just search Sunfruit Dan. He's got a million videos on methylene blue, on iodine, on turpentine, not the kind you use to clean, but regular organic plant-derived turpentine. Turpentine's also really good for like toenail fungus. Don't buy the stuff over the counter. Watch his videos if you're going to do that. The turpentine takes a lot of education, but I use it, I'll mix it just like with Vicks Vapor Rub, because it's oils from different kinds of pine trees is what turpentine is. And if you get the organic kind that is okay to use topically, it used to be in cough medicines and all kinds of things. But you can put it in Vaseline or Vicks Vapor Rub, and you can rub it on the chest when there's a cold, and it reduces inflammation in the lungs, reduces pain, helps breathing, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I love methylene blue and red light. If you're a diabetic and you get a wound, that would be the first thing I would do, and I would treat it right away. Don had a pretty bad spot on his leg. I can't remember what he did. It was like a gouge injury, and he kept putting Neosporin on it, and I'm like, you need to quit putting Neosporin on it. That just creates bacteria soup. And but he kept doing it, and it wasn't getting any better. And so one night I held him down, and I'm like, we're going to do this. And so I put the methylene blue on the wound, and then I put the red light on him, and it's called a Lux Ruby Red Light. You can get it on Amazon for like $30. And I put it, you just put it close enough to the skin so the skin is warm but not overheating, and left it on there for 30 minutes. And the next day that thing was 90% better, and within a week it was healed. So it's an incredible thing that is cheap, easy to get. Let me show you what kind you want here, because there's a certain kind. Amazon. I should keep a little basket with all this stuff in it, because we talk about it enough, and then I could just show it to you. Hold on, it's pulling this up. Wow, super slow. This site can't be reached. Really? I don't believe that. That's weird. It's acting like my internet's down. You guys are still there, right? Amazon.com. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Okay, maybe there's an issue with Amazon. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'll try to remember to bring that Tuesday and show it to you guys. I've been getting the powder and remixing it in that bottle because the powder's cheaper. But it lasts a long time because it goes a long way. But it's great. I'm trying to think of what all I've used it for. All kinds of stuff. Everybody has to be somewhere. Okay, I believe that. I didn't buy any Bud Light, but I was strangely compelled to buy a dress. Oh. Hi, Sheila. Oh my goodness, you guys. I love you so much. Okay, but anyway, that's the stuff about methylene blue. Definitely follow Sunfruit Dan. He does little short videos. They're less than 7 minutes long generally. And he gives all kinds of information. If there's past information that you need to know to be able to understand what he's talking about in that video, he links the other videos. Don't buy the methylene blue yet, because if you want to buy the methylene blue, you want the USP, which is United States Pharmacopoeia, USP grade. Don't buy any other grade because it has lead in it if you buy any other grade. So just make sure it says USP, and it'll say like 0.5 or 0.1%. I can't remember what that part is. Um, Tell me about your new T3 thyroid medicine, Cytomel. I've been on Armor Thyroid, me too, for a few decades, which has T3 and T4. I had asked for as authentic thyroid. Synthroid was ineffective. Yes. Um, I Synthroid did not work for me. I still felt horrible. My numbers got better, but I still felt horrible. Then I switched to Armor, and my numbers were better, but I still felt horrible, and I still kept gaining weight. Um, so then what happened was I was taking NP thyroid, which is another natural thyroid medicine. My numbers were good, but I still felt terrible. I was gaining weight like crazy. You know, and for all these people that are like, it's just calories in, calories out. Not if your T3 is low, it's not. Because when I started the Cytomel, which is the T3, leothyronine, when I started that prescription, the first month I changed nothing and I lost 11 pounds. Actually, in the first 3 weeks. It was a huge, huge difference for me. And I was able to get off the other meds and just take T3. I'm getting ready to get that checked again, so we'll see where we are. But Cytomel, or leothyronine is the generic, is just T3, the active form of thyroid hormone. The only issue with T3 is you got to start really slow because it can cause heart palpitations. So if you've got a cardiac issue or high blood pressure, you really have to ease into it. If it does cause problems with heart palpitations, they can compound it into an extended release, and that'll work better. Or you can take that dose, whatever your dose is, and break it in half and take half in the morning and half in the afternoon. And that will help with those palpitations, and you just have to titrate up slowly. So I suspect I'll have to go up a little bit, not much, but you guys, I have dealt with chronic low-level depression and anxiety for years, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? You know, why can I not get it together? And everything just seemed like a fight to make myself do it. And then I got on T3, on leothyronine, and within a week, Don came home, maybe 2 weeks, Don came home and I was in tears, and he's like, what's wrong? And I said, I feel like a normal person. And he's like, you are a normal person. Like, no, I mean, I don't have to drag myself off the couch and make myself do things. I just automatically am getting up and doing things and feeling better and waking up in the morning and feeling like I slept. And my hot flashes got better, and my cholesterol came down, and my blood pressure came down a lot. You guys, my blood pressure was running 164 over 100. 120 over 80 is normal. Anything, that top number, if that top number is 140 or over, they'll put you on blood pressure medicine. And I was running 163 over 100, 170-ish over 106. That's really high. And they were going to put me on blood pressure medicine, but I didn't want to do it till after my shoulder surgery because I thought maybe pain was playing in. But if it was playing in, it was only playing in a little bit because it had been up before I hurt my shoulder. Well, when they put me on the thyroid medicine, my blood pressure is 124 over 70 every time it's checked now. It brought it down that much. So if you're on blood pressure medicine and you've got a thyroid problem, have them check your T3. If you're on cholesterol medicine and you have a thyroid problem, have them check your T3. If you are diabetic and have a thyroid problem, have them check your T3. It's really important. Verilux Happy Light VT10 compact personable portable bright white light. Yeah, that's not good for the hair thing. You need red light for that. But that is good for seasonal affective disorder. PJ says methylene blue US 1%. Yes, that's it. That's what I got back when. That's right. You're on the right one. Lady Be Good. Hi, sweetheart. Why are so many of us having thyroid problems? Because many of us are iodine deficient. There's iodine in table salt. A lot of us have switched over to sea salt, which has some iodine in it, but not much. And so that's why, and iodine off gases. So if you're using regular table salt, and you put that in a salt shaker, the iodine off gases out of it. The other thing is any prepared foods, so like McDonald's, or you buy macaroni and cheese or whatever, anything in a box that's a processed food, uses sodium, but they don't use iodized salt. And so that's another reason. Another reason is they used to use iodine in bread to help it rise, but now they use bromine or bromide. They're two different things. I can't remember which one. And they also used to use it in milk to keep milk from souring. And so we've taken it out of all of those sources. We've told people to reduce their sodium intake. So there's a doctor in Michigan named Dr. Brownstein, and Dr. Brownstein started testing everybody that came in for iodine insufficiency. And it was some astronomical percentage, like over 80% of people were deficient, and it took almost a year to get them up to where they needed to be. That is my theory behind. My theory is that people's iodine is probably low, and they're not getting enough selenium. Selenium turns inactive T4 thyroid hormone into T3. So if you're taking thyroid hormone, it'll bring up your T4, but not everybody's a good converter, so they don't convert to the active form very well, and that's generally because your iodine is low and your selenium is low. So if you're going to take iodine, I used to recommend Lugol's 2% iodine, but I found I had like a lot of breaking out with that and headaches, and like real big jumps in mood. And I'm pretty stable mood-wise, so it was just too much for me, even at little doses. It's just really, it's a great medicine. It's just really, and you just get it over the counter. And I recommend J. Crow if you're going to use that one, because it's made in the United States and not in China. I don't recommend kelp capsules because a lot of kelp has a radioactive component to it. But I like the Nascent iodine, Nascent, or nascent, I've heard it said both ways. I like that one. It's a lot gentler. What I do is it comes in a bottle. I just make sure it doesn't come from China. And I drop 6 drops of it, which is way enough for you. I drop 6 drops into a water bottle. And then I put in, what is it called? I get it at Walmart. They're these little lemonades, and they only have a gram of sugar, and I think the rest is stevia or something, but it doesn't taste weird. I always can taste stevia. It's true. I can't remember what the name of it is. Anyway, they come in those little packets, so you can dump them right into a water bottle. So I put 6 drops of the Nascent iodine, put the little lemonade packet in there, and then I put 1/8 of a teaspoon of sea salt, because it gives your water structure. Structured water is like a real big thing, and people are paying money to buy machines that will structure your water. Just put a little sea salt in your water. And the reason to do that, even if you're hypertensive, unless you know you're sensitive to sodium, because most people who are hypertensive are not super sensitive to sodium. Doctors just give this, and every cell, every organ in your body needs salt, period. So 1/8 of a teaspoon in there with it, it structures the water to make the water more like your blood. It gives it a sodium content that is in your plasma, in your blood, and it makes the water, it's not true lemon, but it's like that. I bought that one by accident because I thought it was the same thing. But yeah, so that's what I do, one of those a day. And I'm telling you, it is night and day, the difference in my energy and my ability to concentrate, in how rested I feel when I get up in the morning. It has made such a difference with the T3 medicine. I mean, I seriously feel like I felt when I was in my 30s. It's been such a great thing for me. Good on BP and other good changes. Hold on, let me get caught up over here. But that's my theory. In order to have your iodine level checked, and I would guess if you go to your doctor and ask them, have you ever checked an iodine level on a patient? They'll tell you no, and they probably don't even know how to order it. And they'll probably have to get with the lab and say, hey, how do we do an iodine level? You want a 24-hour urine iodine level. So what they do is they give you this drug that has iodine in it. Then you capture your urine for 24 hours in this jug that the lab gives you. And then they test the urine to see how much iodine comes out. If you are sufficient in iodine, if you have enough iodine in your system, and it's used by every organ in your body, the thyroid really needs it, but it's everywhere. It's in the breasts. If you've got those hard, painful breasts around your time of the month, or you have a history of that, that's generally because your iodine is low. If you have a history of breast cancer, thyroid cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cysts, you want to think iodine. But anyway, it's a test. They give you this dose of iodine, then you catch your pee for 24 hours in this jug, and then they test it to see how much iodine comes out. If you're not iodine deficient, almost all the iodine should come out because your body won't suck it up. It doesn't need it. What you'll generally find is there's almost no iodine in the urine because the body is starving for iodine. But you will never find, I have yet, in 20 years of nursing, I have never seen an iodine test done. I didn't even know there was a test for it until I started reading Dr. Brownstein's work. So if you've got thyroid, blood pressure, diabetic, or cholesterol problems, I would recommend that complete thyroid panel and see if you can get your doctor to order a 24-hour thyroid test. I'll get the medicine. I'll find out what the medicine is that they have to give you for that. I was on that pig thyroid. Yeah, that's Armor, or NP is they're both pig thyroid. Felt so hot all the time. Yep. The chemicals everywhere are hitting our thyroids hard. That's the other thing. If you eat a lot of bread products, there's bromine or bromide. I can't remember which chemical version is right for that, and it does matter. It's got its chemical makeup is such that it attaches itself to iodine receptors and it kicks the iodine off those receptors. And so when you first start taking iodine, you need to add salt because salt will help flush the bromide out. So when I first started taking it, I did that 1/8 teaspoon of sea salt twice a day. And you want to take 200 milligrams or micrograms of selenium with your, if you're going to take iodine, got to take selenium. It's a deal breaker. You have to do it. Or don't take the iodine. That's the only way to do it. But anyway, the bromide knocks the iodine off the iodine receptors. And so the bromide is basically leaching the iodine out of your body, which causes iodine in your body is what gets the heavy metals out of your body. Part of me wonders if a lot of these kids that have autism were not iodine. So iodine deficiency is the #1 cause of intellectual disabilities in children, as far as dietary causes. And generally it's because the mother's not getting enough iodine when she's pregnant, and then the baby's not getting enough iodine after she's born, after the baby's born. They found out that a lot of prenatal vitamins that say they have iodine in them do not. And I think that's on purpose. I really do. And that is part of my theory about why we're seeing so much autism and so much ADD, is because these kids are iodine deficient. And they were iodine deficient during conception, which changes how the brain works. But I would love to see some iodine testing done on children who are having those sorts of issues and see if they're deficient. I would be so... I'm going to talk to my doctor and ask her if she's got anybody who might be willing to try that. I need to meet a doctor who's curious about that stuff. What about kelp capsules? Yeah, I don't like the thing is the sourcing of the kelp can be really problematic. No, I do not think that God intended us to have dysfunctional thyroids or dysfunctional anything else. I took notes. Thank you. You're welcome, sweetheart. It's not True Lemon. What is that stuff called? It's not Truvia. I can't think of it. Paula, welcome, Paula. I'm 58. My thyroid has been gone since I was 18. Menopause has been rough. What tests should I be taking? Okay, so I would have that complete thyroid panel done, the TSH, T3, T4, TPO. Get that done. And then I would have a free testosterone level, not meaning the test is free, meaning how much testosterone isn't bound in your body. A lot of women have low testosterone, and that's going to cause low energy, low mood, and low sex drive. And after menopause, it can be a problem. It's definitely a problem after hysterectomy. So if you're finding that your mood is low, your energy is low, your passion for life is low, and your libido is low, think testosterone. And you find doctors will even refuse to test that. You may have to go to a GYN that offers hormone replacement therapy, and most of them do. And if you're going to have hormone replacement, I would not recommend the pellets that they put in you, because if that dose isn't right, you're stuck with it for a month. It's much easier to use like a topical cream. I do the testosterone and anthenate injections every 2 weeks, and that's been a lifesaver for me. Because since my hysterectomy, my pituitary did not kick in and pick up on the testosterone production like it was supposed to. So testosterone, free testosterone, estrogen level, an estradiol level, estradiol, estradiol level, progesterone, progestesterone, and a pregnenolone. So pregnenolone is like preg, preg, n, pregnen. I think it's nenalone. So pregnenolone, and then a DHEA. So estrogen, free testosterone, estradiol, pregnenolone, and DHEA. I think that's all of them. And I would have all of that checked as a baseline for postmenopausal issues and making sure that that thyroid is working right. I kind of start there with people that are at that stage of life or are having those kind of issues. Do you have to add the lemon flavor, or is it just... No, you don't have to add it at all. I find it just is better with the salt. I like that little bit of lemon, but no, you don't have to add it. You'll just be drinking water that's a little salty. You can't taste the iodine. I can't taste it. And I have a pretty refined palate. I can pick things out that are in recipes and stuff, like just by taste. True Lemon Original Lemonade Powdered Drink Mix. Good job, RJ. Lady Be Good. So where would we be getting iodine in our diets historically? Well, historically, you would get it from the soil, but our soil is really depleted. We would get it from vegetables that we eat. You would get it in bread. You would get it in milk. But they've taken it out of all those things, so you don't get it there. Now we can take supplements, but what about people who lived in times prior? Yeah, we had food that was much more nutritionally dense. We didn't have bromide in our diets at all. So we weren't taking in things that were knocking iodine off the receptors. Bread was made with iodine to make it rise. And so we were just getting plenty of iodine. Then they added iodine to salt, and that pretty much was enough for folks. But now, so many people have gone away from using iodized salt, or they keep it in an open shaker and it off gases. And if you're careful not to use a lot of salt, then there's another reduction in iodine. And I'm not a fan of iodized salt. And then if you eat a lot of processed foods, they're high in sodium, but they don't have iodine in the sodium. Coastal cultures, yeah, get seaweed and sea salt. Our food supply by design is crap. Elise Wood, welcome to you, honey. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Our food is crap by design, and they're trying to make it crappier. Articles came out this week that said organic fruit was bad for the environment. Locally grown produce is bad for the environment. Grass-fed beef is bad for the environment. I mean, when Lucky Charms is more pushed on the food pyramid than eggs, grass-fed beef, your government's trying to kill you. And I don't think I'm overstating that. Everybody has to be somewhere. A positive effect from radioactivity, though, is that you don't have to switch on the lights to go to the bathroom. The thing about taking methylene blue orally is it will turn your pee blue, which they used to give it to men in the military to prevent infection and other things. And they had this little something like, when you go to the loo, you pee blue. There was some kind of rhyme that the guys would say. And so they got away from doing it because the blue pee was troublesome to people. And I'm like, why would blue pee be any more troublesome than yellow pee? It can cause some stinging of the urine if you're not well hydrated, or stinging on urination. So if you do experience that, if you do decide to take it orally, in the little capsules, just know that you might have some stinging, and if you do, you might need to hydrate more. Hi, Penny Ree. Stream, get it done early. Hi, First Last. I'm glad to see you. Met you in Zach's, I think. Elise. Oh, okay. Started listening to The Return of the Gods. Oh, did you like it, Elise? We finished it this last week. I know many Smurfs that would be offended by that. Well, and like I said, it stains your skin and stuff. So there's that. I've not looked to see if when I'm using it and my pee is blue, if the lady bits turn blue, I will look and report back. I wouldn't think so since it's such a brief exposure going out, but who knows? I could have blue lady bits. That would be such a shock for Don. He'd be like, oh my gosh, what's going on with your lady bits? They're smurfed. Lady Be Good says, Heaven Awaits channel on YouTube featured your NDE story a couple of days ago. Did you see that? No, but that would be a copyright infraction. I hate it when people breach my copyright. Because I never turn down interviews. And so it's just laziness. People don't contact me for an interview and they go ahead and take my video from somewhere else and post it on their own channel, and they do things to it and alter it, which is just copyright infringement, and I wish they'd stop it, but I've gotten tired of going after them. But Heaven Awaits channel, yeah. I used to put a comment in there and say, hey, that's my story. I'm Penny. I'd be happy to do an interview with you. This is a copyright infringement if you don't mind to take it down. But people have been so nasty about that, I've just given up. Elise says, I love it. Caught the end, then started it. Right read at the right time, wasn't it? It was so funny that it was just a God's intervention, I think, that we started into that book and finished it in June during Pride Month. Lady Be Good, they normally take from IANs. Do you have something on IANs? They can't take from IANs either. That's IANs is even stricter about their copyright than I am. Oh, wait. Now, I did an interview recently. Maybe that's what that is. The lady's name was Lauren, I think. I did one with her, and that maybe just went up. So maybe that's her channel. I got to start keeping track of my interviews better. I couldn't even tell you which ones I've done. 13,000 views 2 days ago. Really? Wait. 13,000 views on the new one on the NDE on Heaven Awaits channel? We added them up the other day without that one, like all the interviews that I've done on different YouTube channels, and it's over 5 million views altogether. I know many Smurfs that would be offended. Groinal Smurfism is an epidemic. What does Don... There's a word that Don always uses. Oh, I can't think of it. He makes up words and he smushes words together, and it's very funny. He's always coming up. He came up with one today. I can't remember what it was. But anyway, yeah, he does that a lot. Okay, I got some news I want to get to. You guys are just great tonight. I love just coming on here and talking to you guys. Let me see what I absolutely want to go through. There's some fun ones. Not that one. This one's good. Okay, hold on. Let me think of how to do this. Okay, hold on. We got to get this screen where I can see it. Is it that one? I don't think it is. Oh man, it's going to make me... All right, that's okay. That's all right. We'll figure it out. Okay, it is this one. I got the share audio. Share. Okay, guys, now let me know if there's no sound, okay? Don't wait. I'm going to play it right now, and if I can hear it, you guys should be able to hear it, but if you can't, tell me. What is up with my... This is so weird. Resolving host. There must be some issue with Rumble. What is going on? Anytime I try to open up a page, I can't do it. Hey guys, throw out a comment so I know that I'm still live. I'm not trying to post. Okay, stop sharing. Let's try this again. Present. Share screen. Hey Bloggerty Schmoo, are we still live? Oh man, where'd it go? Friday night live stream. Friday. Yep, I'm still there. What the heck? Oh man, I lost the dang video. Urgh. Okay, hold on. Oh no. Is the song. Please don't. What? Have you heard the song? You're there, but I'm not sure about myself. Okay, wait, hold on. I gotta find this now. It's not down here, is it? No. Son of a gun. I can't believe I lost that. That's frustrating. I don't know why I'm not able to open up any. It says Rumble cannot be reached. Hopefully I'm still live on Rumble. Oh, look. I lost the whole screen. StreamYard. There it is. I don't know what's going on. It's live. Okay. Rumble spinning. Yeah, you're having that too? Salty just played this, but just a couple snippets. Oh, was it that same song? Still live, still here, still here. What is going on? Okay, let me try again. Maybe I've never had this issue before. It just absolutely will not open that up. I hate that because all my sound is in that tab. All my videos that require sound. Okay. I don't hope that doesn't mess anything up. Looking for web connectivity. I'm plugged into the internet. Okay, hold on. It's troubleshooting it. I'm a doc. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here the first time. First time commenting. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, it says it's detecting problems. Wow. I don't know if it's detecting a lot of them or it's having trouble finding them because it's going for a long time. I don't know what the issue is. Let me go back here to oh, I see you. And you know what's funny is I upload all of these early in the day. You had a glitch too, huh? That's crazy. How can I not? Ugh. Found you back in 2020 on Freakbook. Oh, wow. You're a long timer. That's awesome. You found me when I had COVID then. That is just crazy. I cannot get Rumble to open at all. But my whole chat is open in Rumble. And it doesn't ever care if I open Rumble twice. I don't know what's going on with that. All right. Well, that sucks because I really wanted to share that with you guys. Hold on. Present. Let's see what else. Bandwidth problem? I don't know how to fix that. I feel like Jeff A. Hearn. Jeff A. Hearn's always having some like weird technical problem because he's not technical like I am, or like I'm not, I guess. And he cracks me up whenever he's having trouble because I feel it. First, last, it's the FBI, man. Run! My couch just glitched in and out. There's a lot of it going around. Maybe open a new browser. Oh, that's smart. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to share it in a new browser. That would be the problem. Okay. Oh gosh, everything's trying to go away. We'll try it again. Here, let's just... Why would this not work? It's a bummer because I had some really funny videos to show you and now they're all lost. I have no idea. This is another tech problem I'm going to have to figure out. Probably because I was trying to figure out OBS today. I should have known better. It's Open Broadcasting System. It's an absolute flippin' nightmare. Let me see if I've got stories here that I can just do. Windows. Is that? Share. No, that's just my chat. Okay, let's not stop that. Okay. Friday Night Livestream, Rumble. It's the Trump thing. Troll apartment. If we can watch that. Dark to Light, Jim Jordan. Okay, here's one. Okay. Oh, it didn't open the whole thing. Doggone it. Hold on. YouTube don't like you promoting the competition. That may be it. I talked to the people at StreamYard today, and was like, what is it going to take for you guys to finally integrate with Rumble so I don't have to use codes to do this? And that's not the right one. It's this one. Okay. And I mean, I think Rumble's been around for 8 years, or it might be 10. I think it's 8. And you still have to set it up via code, which means it doesn't integrate, so you can't see your chat. So on StreamYard, I can see my Rumble, or not my Rumble, I can see Facebook, Twitter, YouTube chat, but you can't see the Rumble chat. So I have to have a whole other thing open so I can see that. Plus try to run my screens. Okay, here's one. This one. This will get you guys. Okay, just keep swimming. And there's science to this, but I don't care. SoCal studies show sharks and humans can share ocean peacefully. Do you see the sharks there? And then the people on their, I don't know if they're surfing or if they're on paddle boards. That's right, Jaws fans. Researchers at California State University Long Beach-based Shark Lab used drones to study juvenile white sharks along the Southern California coastline and how close they swim to humans in the water. Turns out it's pretty close, almost within the bite radius. Still, it's safe. There were no reported shark bites in any of the 26 beaches surveyed between January 2019 and March 2021, according to the Shark Lab. The juvenile white sharks mostly grouped together in 2 locations, in southern Santa Barbara County and central San Diego County. The researchers discovered through roughly 1,500 drone flights over the 2 years, adult white sharks are generally solitary animals. In those 2 spots, the juvenile sharks swam near humans on 97% of the days surveyed. The researchers wrote in a paper published Friday, the sharks often swam within 50 yards of the wave breaks, closest to surfers and stand-up paddleboarders. Quote, most of the time water users didn't even know the sharks were there, but we could easily see them from the air, said Patrick Rex, a Cal State Long Beach graduate student who led the study. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about, or that's all I'm going to read there. So these people are doing a study with drones from the air, watching sharks swim near people to see if the sharks bite the people. Is that the biggest scientific asshole move you've ever seen in your life? Because they didn't know. They didn't know if the white sharks would attack people. I mean, I'm guessing they looked at the history and what they could figure out of what kind of shark bit who, but I'm guessing you don't always know what kind of shark bit a person, because it happens quick and the sharks leave. They don't hang around and wait for the police, right? So they've got that video, or that image there. Hold on, let me if I get my cursor in the right place. So you see how close that shark is. They don't know if that shark is going to bite those people or not. They're watching to see if it happens. Over 1,900 drone flights they watch, and they're like, nope, didn't bite those people. Like, no one thinks to yell out of the plane, shark! If it had bitten the people, like, aren't you complicit in that? What the absolute hell? I don't care if these sharks don't generally bite. Like, it's super rare for these sharks to bite people, they say. But this seems like a really, like, this is like the biggest I'm an asshole scientist study that you could do outside of COVID. Am I wrong? I have no idea what these people were thinking. I could not be in a drone, watching via the camera and be like, oh my gosh, there's a white shark. So even if it was a bitey shark, they don't have like some kind of, I would have to put some kind of PA system on the drone, because yes, this is a white shark and it's not going to bite them, because apparently 97% of the time they ran a drone, they saw sharks near people. But if it had been a different shark that is bitey, did they have any way that they could warn, there's a shark, a bitey kind, it's not a white one, go, I just think that's really a jerky move to make. Of course, when the sharks' bellies are full, what a-holes taking drone views, just waiting for a shark to chop somebody, right? They really do hate us. No, they didn't yell shark. I'm just blown away by this. We are on the same wavelength. I have to admit, I haven't been in the oceans. I haven't either. I have not been in the ocean since Jaws. I put my feet in when we were in Florida, but that was as far in as I would go because bull sharks like brackish water. So I wouldn't go in the river that we were staying on because it's brackish, and the Indian River is one of the largest bull shark nurseries in the world. Um, and there was no way I was going in that water. It just, I'm like, look, if anyone, you guys know my life story, if anyone is going to get bitten by a shark, it's going to be me. It's absolutely going to be me. Um, if an anvil is going to fall on anyone's head, it's going to be me. I'm not taking. Don got in the ocean. He got in the river. I'm like, you're crazy. There's no way. I'm not doing it. There's no amount of hot I could be. I would get in that water. I know. Can you believe I went to Florida and didn't get in any water? I'm such a wimp. And I've been in, no, when we went to Florida that time, we had a pool. I'm just not, I got enough trouble. I just got enough. Janik says not only no, but hell no. Oh, Danny girl, just no. Me, see? Okay, it's not just me. I could not watch that footage and be like, oh, like they said, they even got within the bite radius. There's a bite radius. I don't know what that bite radius is. But if they don't want to bite you, why are they getting so dang close? Are they just curious like dolphins? Or like, should we, I don't know how many white shark bites. Let's look that up. This is some learning, you guys, we need to know about. Incidents, is that right? Incidents of white shark bites. Stupid internet. Well, we just aren't ever going to know. If you guys look it up and you see it, you tell me. They had already eaten, so they weren't hungry. I'm not. Elise says surfers have a lot of grit. They're probably interested in the study. Lots of newbies, though, and I live in far NorCal, where it's most rugged. Yeah, Northern California is beautiful. I flew into Hollywood. I spoke at a conference in, gosh, I don't remember. It wasn't in Hollywood. I can't remember. It was a past lives conference. But there were near-death experiencers there too, and so I spoke at a conference out there. It was just, Hollywood was just gross. And it takes forever to get anywhere in California. Like, I mean, if you want to go 10 miles, plan 2 hours of 8 lanes of traffic, bumper to bumper going nowhere. It's just, there's nowhere. I couldn't live there. Used to go in at night till the news showed the shark activity. Young and dumb, yeah. Well, we did a lot of things when we were young, didn't we? Real Dream says, no, Penny, that's my claim to fame. I've turned down numerous medical procedures for that reason. If it's a 1 in a million chance of something, I know that one is me. I probably should ascribe to that myself. Isaac's mom says, I figured I have no fins, so I don't belong in the ocean. Yeah, I mean, I love the lake. We're going to the lake for a week at the end of the month. I think I'll be back by Friday. I usually do some podcasting from the lake. We'll have to see if I can get a good enough connection, but we've done when I could just do Facebook Lives. We did podcasts from the boat every year when we went camping, and people really liked it. And from the campsite, and I'll just have to see how well this works out there. I don't know how good of an internet connection I need. They obviously don't watch Shark Week. Well, I guess they're white sharks, and apparently white sharks aren't super bitey, but if you already knew that, why did you spend all this money on the drone and the study? And I gotta think what I'm curious to know is not about the white sharks. How many bitey sharks did you see come near people? Because I'd be curious to know how often that happens and that bitey sharks don't attack. Because, shark bites attacks are relatively rare. So I'd be curious to know if, like, every time a bitey shark gets near somebody, does it bite? Or do they not bite 90% of the time and then 10% of the time they're just super munchy and they do it? I don't know. Oh, Don loves the beach. I'm more of a woods person myself, but he loves the water and the beach. Like, I'm a fall camper. I love camping in the fall. We don't real camp, we glamp. We've got our camper that we put on the back of the truck and take, and a boat and all of that. I used to camp, and I feel like I did my time. and I shouldn't have to do that anymore. It's just my theory. All right, let me see what else I've got for you. I guess I'm just going to do the light stuff tonight. And I'll save, well, you've probably already heard all the other stuff. You guys are super informed. Okay, we got that one. We can't watch, well, we could watch the video. We just won't, I mean, we'll see if this one works or not. Oy. Okay, so this, let me give you the backstory on this. This is in California somewhere, and it's a one-bedroom, one-bath house in Los Angeles. It's going viral both for its $250,000 price tag. I'm like, one bedroom, one bath for $250,000? Are you kidding me? And its unusual location, it's in the middle of a bridge. The Alhambra house, dubbed the Troll Apartment online, is located beneath the road and over the arch of a bridge overlooking the Alhambra Wash. It's definitely the most unique listing I've ever had in my entire residential real estate career. Douglas Lee, the sales associate handling the property for Compass Real Estate, told KTLA-TV. The house features a rooftop patio, a fenced-in area adjacent to the street that runs over the bridge. There's a lot of just unique interests, Lee said, and instead of it being off-putting to people, it's actually come off as very cool. The current owner purchased the house in 2005 with the intention of making it into a unique getaway, but ended up only using the property for storage. He said the house is in need of some repairs, wait till you see it, including outlet upgrades, leak repairs, and $3,000 in mold abatement. Definitely, for $250,000, I mean, I live in Kentucky. $250,000 will buy you a hell of a house in Kentucky. So let me show you the guys this. You're not, I don't know if you'll be able to hear the sound or if the video will play.
This is the place.
For $250,000.
We've already got multiple offers. We're already in the threes.
Okay, $300,000 or more, you too can be a homeowner in
It's
Southern
rough looking.
California.
No windows.
Under a bridge. What do you think?
It's pretty bizarre. I've never seen anything like this, so we're just here to investigate, actually.
So are we. Listing agent Douglas Lee showed us around the unique property on Main Street in Alhambra.
The idea that we had here was to turn this area into a Murphy bed.
It's a 462 square foot, one bedroom, one bathroom with a rooftop deck that is
For a
street
quarter
level.
of $1
You
million.
walk the stairs down and there's your 1949 waterfront property, the Alhambra Wash. The current owners bought it in 2005. The perfect man cave, they thought, but over the years, it became a storage unit. Lee admits it's a total fixer-upper. They know there's a $3,000 mold problem.
There's a small leak in the roof. We're still trying to get that all taken care of.
But in this market, there's a buyer.
I've heard ideas for everything, turning this into an Airbnb,
It would be a cool Airbnb.
using it as a law office. They wanted to do a cigar shop.
Did you know this was here?
No, and we've driven by this a million
They
times.
could do assisted
Adrian and his
suicides
friend are
there.
just two of the dozens of people who stop by in a matter of a half hour on a
push people
Tuesday
out.
afternoon, curious about what some are calling the troll house.
Obviously, the person that it's going to go to is going to be the one that has imagination and can see all the great things about it.
Where else are you ever going to see such a place, you know? And also, you imagine what this would be like when it's raining, to sit above the water going underneath.
See you guys.
Yeah,
Okay, that's it. What do you think, guys? I hope you could hear that. Okay, hold on. What happened here? I gotta find you guys. You guys are lost. There you are. I do mold and asbestos. Craxton Jackson, there's a house for you. After Blair Witch, you'll like the woods. Shiver me timbers. I don't watch movies like that. I have seen that one though. PJ says used to do a lot of real camping. Now not having a continental breakfast is roughing it. Exactly. So that would be cool if I had money to burn. I would make it into a super cool Airbnb. And I think it would probably do well just because it's different, you know. But $250,000 for 400 and some square feet. Wow. $250,000 here would get me a house on acreage. And I could probably get I could probably get 2,500 square feet or better. Stop the source of water. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I've got a friend here in Kentucky, or people that I used to be friends with. Gosh, their name's escaping me. McFarland is the last name, and they have a asbestos abatement business, or they did. I haven't talked to them in a really long time. First Last says Costco is going to build condos on top of one store in LA. Yeah, I wouldn't want to live on top of a store. But I should drive to Lexington and show you guys this sometime. They made a kind of a mini 15-minute city, if you guys have heard of those, in Lexington. And so it's like a shopping area. I don't know if it's got a park or anything, but it's got restaurants and different shops and stuff. And then there's like high-end, like duplex kind of, not duplex, like townhouse style apartments. Maybe they're just some that are regular apartments, but it's real pretty. And it's laid out really neat. I like the way it's laid out. Where's the parking space? Probably up on the road, since you've got to walk down to it. Because the roof is just a patio, so I don't guess you'd park up there. That would be cool to live on top of a store. So convenient. On top of a Costco? Ugh. I don't know. I'm trying to think. So my question is, like, if solar panels are so great, here in Kentucky, near where we live, our electric company bought this big plot of land, huge tracts of land, if you've seen Monty Python, bought this big stretch of land, or they owned it or something maybe, and they filled it with solar panels. So it's killed all the grass, all of the, birds and stuff that used to live there don't live there anymore. They're all displaced. But this is so good for the environment, you guys. But everything out there is dead now, and they have just a field of solar panels, which makes zero sense to me. You have rooftops throughout our city, businesses, homes. Why would you not just take those solar panels, install them on people's homes, and then, I mean, they paid the cost for it anyway. Pay to put those panels on the house, and then that reduces the energy consumption. If you have any extra, then the electric company would be able to utilize that without having to buy it back from you. That would make a lot more sense. I don't know. It seems like these people are all stupid. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I'm like, why would you buy all these acres and destroy the wildlife and destroy the land that's there, when you could have just put that on roofs that were already existing? Just a thought. Power company in southern Indiana did this. Yes, it's so ugly. When you drive by it, it's just an eyesore. I mean, the only thing that would make it uglier would be a bunch of windmills. Shut my mouth. That's probably next. What's interesting is that our electric bill's only gone up. I don't know who this is benefiting. Hey, Jay. Hi, sweetheart. City planning and common sense don't go together. No, they do not. Clearly. No, I think I am right. They are stupid. We all agree on that. Let's move to the next thing. I hate it because I had so many cool videos for you guys. Oh, I need to do that one. Okay, yeah, we can do some of these. Here we go. Is this one? No. Oh, that's so cool. I keep forgetting that you get a... Don't want to do that one. I'm skipping all the heavy stuff because I'm thinking you guys have already heard this. Okay, here's one. Let's do this one. Okay, SCAD study. Where's my cursor? There it is. Look, this is Rumble, and it opened up fine. How long is this one? Let's see if it plays. No. What the heck? Okay, so I'll tell you about this one. So this is spontaneous coronary artery dissection. Coronary artery dissection is like when the coronary artery splits open, and it'll kill you super fast. So these two ladies had this issue post-jab, and everybody in this video is, talking about they just can't figure out why this would be and what a strange phenomenon this is, and why can't we... I hate that won't work. What the heck? I know if I do this, it's just going to go away entirely. Maybe? Nope, yep, it's gone. This has got to be a problem with StreamYard. Yeah, it won't work. Anyway, it was a sudden coronary artery disease that was lethal. And the people that did catch it, these two ladies one lady had 2 heart attacks, the other lady had 3. It was crazy. And I'm like, I wonder, maybe, are they jabbed? Should we look at that? Old roofs not built for panel load. Well, no, but there's plenty of new buildings that you could put it on. Solar panel on a roof will be a leak in 6 months. So how do the people who have solar panels not have leaks? Because I know people who have them and they've been okay. But yeah, I would imagine anything that you would screw into your roof would leave you primed for some sort of leak. I wanted to go over this one. Let's look at this one. Okay, this one is DeSantis attack ad uses fake AI images, and I wanted to tell you about this one in case you didn't know, because I think this is very newsworthy. The fake images depict Trump kissing Fauci on the cheek, allowing the DeSantis campaign to frame Trump as a close supporter of Fauci's policies. It's funny because if you really look at them, you can see they're fake. The campaign backing Ron DeSantis as Republican presidential nominee in 2024 has used what experts identify as AI-generated deepfakes in attack ad against rival Donald Trump. On June 5th, the DeSantis War Room Twitter account shared a video emphasizing Trump's support for Anthony Fauci, a former White House chief medical advisor and key figure in developing the U.S. response to COVID-19. Fauci had become a hated figure in right-wing politics, particularly among the anti-vax movement, and the attack ad seeks to grow this base of support for DeSantis by portraying Trump and Fauci as close collaborators. I mean, Trump was pretty clear that he was not a fan of Fauci's. The video includes real clips of Trump discussing Fauci and a collage of 6 pictures of the two men together. Of the 6 images, 3 appear to be AI-generated, showing Trump embracing Fauci. In the collage below, they are top left, bottom middle, and bottom right. So this one, if you can see my cursor, yeah, and this one, wait, and bottom right, this one, and this one. That's dirty. The fakes were first identified by AFP, who note that the real images in the collage above can be seen here, here, and here. The 3 fake images show no results in reverse image searches and have a number of tells that suggest they are AI generated. So if you don't know how to do a reverse image search, if you use your phone, you just capture that image and then you hit share, and it'll give you the option to Google search that image. And you can see if these images are real or not. So you can kind of fact check these for yourself. I thought you guys, if you don't know how to do that, that's a good skill to know about. These tells include glossy and blurred textures, particularly in the hair and flesh of the two men, physically unrealistic poses, particularly in the top left picture. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Trump kiss anybody, short of Melania. And an inaccurate reproduction of the White House press briefing room and its decorations. I wouldn't have caught that. For example, in the top left image, you can see a recreation of the sign that appears behind the press briefing podium and that in real life says, "The White House, Washington." You can see this sign in the picture from March 27th from Getty Images. I don't know what it says back there. Anyway, they're fakes. Haney Faird, an expert in image forensics and professor at the University of California, told the AFP that it was highly likely that the images were fake, particularly as they could not be found in reverse image searches. Digital media forensics expert, good grief, Sai-Wei Liu, came to the same conclusion, noting abnormalities in the 3 images. I'm pretty sure these are not real photos. The DeSantis War Room Twitter account was launched last August by DeSantis political aide Christina Pushaw, and just try to remember that name because I'm guessing other things will come up. Christina Pushaw, and its use of AI shows the increasing normalization of deepfakes in U.S. politics. They've been doing it to us for years. We're just now finding out about it. But anyway, that was that. I don't think anybody has confronted DeSantis about this that I've seen. We've reached out to the campaign for a comment after this story was published. DeSantis aide Pushaw, who described herself as the rapid response director for the campaign, the DeSantis War Room Twitter account says it provides rapid response for @Ron DeSantis, tweeted a screenshot of Trump sharing an edited image of DeSantis riding on the back of a rhino, captioning it, I think this... Okay, nobody sees DeSantis on the back of a rhino and gets confused and thinks that's a real picture. These are quite different. These are made to look plausible. Okay, so her argument doesn't hold up. That's dirty. I don't like it. And the fact that it is so difficult, like this one where they're hugging, the average person would be like, wow, the kissing one's over the top. But the one they're hugging, people would buy that. People would probably buy the kissing one too. I think it's just really gross and dirty, and I don't like it. I mean, I know it's politics of the day, but still. Good night, Bloggerty Schmoo. I'd like to know who's paying DeSantis. I'd like to know who's funding him. Yeah, I think it's dishonest too. Lost one of my neighbors yesterday, Real Dream says. I'm so sorry. Another jab victim. That makes 7. What did the person die from? Good wind will rip solar panel off a roof. See it all the time. Interesting. We've been talking about putting some solar on our camper so that we can do some camping and not need an electrical site, because they're really hard to find in Kentucky. But, you got to buy the inverter, converter. I'm not sure how that works. There's a lot of expense to it, and it adds a lot of weight, and so it's kind of impractical for the truck camper. If we were going to drive this big old RV around, we just use this for guests, and I've been wanting to Airbnb it if we can get it finished and get the backyard cleared out. Don's got a bunch of stuff, projects and stuff he's been working on out there that, I wouldn't Airbnb with all that stuff out there. Janik says, if DeSantis were to win, it'll be because he bought his way in. Well, here's the thing, and you guys know I'm an equal opportunity hater as far as politics. Tracy Beans and I were discussing this today, and I said, what's problematic is there's no way to get into the White House without these big donors. There's no way to do it. I don't like that DeSantis is taking money from Moderna, but to be fair, Trump took pharmaceutical money too, and to be extra fair, good luck getting into the White House without that kind of funding. It's a broken system. I think what needs to happen is a certain amount of the income tax that we already pay needs to go into a pot for campaigns, and say it's $5 million per candidate that wins a primary. And then that's all the money that they can use. They can't get any other backers. They can take small donations under $100, and those have to be tracked back with verifiable data, because we're finding all this Act Blue stuff where Act Blue was getting a donor that maybe donated, a little old lady that donated $20. O'Keefe Media Group, the guy from Project Veritas, has been covering this, and so they're going out and they're finding these Act Blue donors have made like 500 donations in a year, sometimes 30 in a day, to the tune of $20,000 or $30,000, and they're little old retired people on fixed incomes. And so they're going out and talking to these people and saying, hey, did you make all these donations? And some of the elderly people have been a little bit confused, like mentally confused. And one lady was crying, and she's like, why did I do that? I don't have that money. Is my money gone? And I'm like, oh, maybe consider the person you're talking to, because she's going to be really upset about that. She doesn't understand that the money didn't actually come out of her account. They're just using her name as a donor, even though she didn't make any of those donations. So, there's always going to be corruption. I'm wondering about realistic ways that we could end it. Or minimize it. Minimize it. That's a better word. Real Dream says one of those monster blood clots. Have you guys seen the heat imaging? They've got these cameras that they use like to screen for cancer and inflammation and stuff in the body, and it's a heat sort of imaging, and so it can pick up like breast cancers and stuff way before they become tumor sized. And so they'll do a baseline image of the breasts, and or baseline photography of the breasts, and they'll note any hot spots or anything, and then they'll keep an eye on those, and they can catch cancers really early, earlier than mammogram. But insurance won't cover it, of course. But it's not crazy expensive. I can't remember the cost. And they can do full body and that sort of thing. But anyway, they were showing that thermography, those thermography images of people who'd been jabbed, and you could see these long clots that were going all through their body within their veins. It was crazy. Ground panels, if you don't, yeah, we basically are just spring, summer, fall campers, so we don't have that issue with snow and ice. That's a good idea. Well, yeah, because if we put them on the top of the camper will leak. I mean, campers are notorious. You got to seal the roofs all the time. RJ says period, and they can only campaign for 2 months, no more money. I think we need longer than 2 months. Like I can lose a whole month with kidney stones and not know what's going on. I think a year is enough. I mean, the amount of time you need to plan a wedding, I think, because you've got to get to all the different states, talk to all the different people, knock on doors, hold rallies. Getting that done in 2 months, it's just not possible. I like the idea. I think there should be mandatory debates too. And yes, there should be mandatory debates. I think it's crazy. I don't like that Trump does. I don't understand why Trump wouldn't do it, because he's strong at debating when he doesn't get super pissy and argumentative. But I mean, his one-liners are great, and as he ages, I find that he's even better at that sort of interaction, as I've seen him on like the recent CNN town hall. You know, he didn't give that lady any room. We do have great ideas. You guys, we should run the country. We're super way better at it. All right, let me find the next one. Share screen. I hate that we can't watch those videos. I'm so bummed out about that. Okay, we did that one. I'm gonna skip that one. We did the troll apartment. We did the shark. This one, the Saudi Crown Prince. Oh, it's tedious, but we'll hit it and do as little as we can. Isn't that terrible? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just worn out with the news sometimes. I know you guys are too. And the thing is, you guys are so informed. I don't always feel like I try to find things that haven't been covered in that week that were still news. You get clots. Craxton Jackson says, I get clots easily after surgery. Always have pre-COVID. Interesting. I wonder, are you not taking vitamin K2? K2 regulates blood clotting. You may be low in that. If you're taking vitamin D3, which most of us should be, you can get a D3 combo that has K2 in it, and that will help normalize clotting for you. Okay, here we go. So there's your guy. Saudi Crown Prince threatened major economic pain on U.S. amid oil feud. This is the Washington Post by John Hudson, and forgive me for not mentioning authors' names before that. I don't like it when people, use my stuff and don't credit back. So I try to remember to do that. So I apologize for not doing that earlier. Last fall, President Biden vowed to impose consequences on Saudi Arabia for its decision to slash oil production amid high energy prices and fast approaching elections in the United States. So he just said that because the elections were. Let me restate. Last fall, President Biden, as a boost to the electioning that was going on, the midterm elections, said that he was going to come down on Saudi Arabia about high energy prices so that they could win an election. He wasn't really going to do anything about it. That's what the first paragraph should say. In public, the Saudi government defended its actions politely via diplomatic statements, but in private, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman threatened to fundamentally alter the decade-old U.S.-Saudi relationship and impose significant economic costs on the United States if it retaliated against the oil cuts, according to a classified document obtained by the Washington Post. So if you'll remember, what he did was he met with this guy and he asked if they would hold off on the price hikes until after the election. So the price hikes are fine, but can you hold off on them so that the Republicans don't win this election? That's what he did. And so the Saudi crown prince was like, wow, that's dirty. So he announced that Biden had done that. He's like, he asked me to hold off until after the election. And at the time, it pissed everybody off. The crown prince claimed he will not deal with the U.S. administration anymore. See, you guys, and for anybody who tells you, oh, we're doing so much better around the world, no, we're not. We're a laughingstock and we're hated by a lot of countries. Africa's had it with us. Russia, Germany, I mean, we are really screwing ourselves over. The crown prince claimed, already that 8 months later, Biden has yet to impose consequences on the Arab country, and Mohammed has continued to engage with the top U.S. officials, as he did with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in the seaside Saudi city, really? Seaside Saudi city of Jeddah this week. It's unclear whether the crown prince's threat was conveyed directly to U.S. officials or intercepted through electronic eavesdropping. Yeah, because that's going to make him friendlier toward you. But his dramatic outburst revealed the tension at the heart of a relationship long premised on oil for security, but rapidly evolving as China takes a growing interest in the Middle East and the United States assesses its own interests as the world's... No, the United States is not assessing its own interests as the world's largest oil producer. We're not even the world's largest oil producer, because he has shut all of that down so that we can buy oil from other countries who are not as clean with the way that they produce and refine it. And so this whole story is basically bullshit, because when Biden asked this guy to hold off on raising prices, he only asked him to hold off until after the election. So he didn't care about him raising the prices at all. That's why this guy has not lowered the prices, because because Biden didn't really want him to do it. He just wanted him to wait to raise them until after the election. So this whole thing about, well, this guy's never followed through with what he said he was going to do. He never said he was going to lower the prices. He said he was going to raise them. So they're painting this guy in a bad light and acting like he went back on what he promised Biden, but he never promised to lower the prices. So this guy's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And then Biden tries to push it off on this guy and was like, well, I tried to get him to lower the prices, but he wouldn't do it. He said he was going to do it, but he wouldn't do it. But we may have gotten that information via eavesdrop. Do you see what I'm saying here? This isn't even a news article. This is Biden told this lie to us. And then the person that he told the lie about didn't do the thing that was the lie. And why hasn't he done that thing yet? Like we made up that he would do. The whole thing is just bullshit. The crown prince isn't messing with us. Biden's messing with us. The crown prince is like, I never told you I would lower the prices. You just asked me if I would wait to raise them until after the election so that the Republicans wouldn't sweep the elections. So he's not doing anything to us. He said he was going to raise the prices. That's what he did. He has no respect for Biden because Biden came home and lied about what he said. Biden said, look, I asked him to lower the prices, but he wouldn't. No, that's not what he asked him. He asked him if he would wait to raise the prices till after the election, and the guy said no. So, again, all just bullshit. It makes me so mad. Is anyone talking about them being related to the jab? I'm a cardiac monitor tech at our local hospital. Hey, I used to work telemetry in ICU. We've had an unbelievably large amount of saddle PEs post. Really? Yeah, I would think you would have a bunch of PEs. The journalist is the one messing with us. There you go. Do not mind me. Welcome. Running cover to promote their candidate. That's exactly... I want us to start learning to read more critically. Because and I'm going to show you another article that I almost fell into. And it's been an interesting mental exercise for me to read critically. So let me show you this other one. And it's funny because... So the way I learned to read critically is when I took my nursing, or when I was in nursing school. So we would take like practice nursing board exams and things like that. And they'll give you a question and all of the answers are right, but you have to choose the most right answer, which is difficult. A lot of times it's about prioritizing patient care, patient triage, that sort of thing. So like, for example, you come onto your shift and there are 3 patients in the ER that need to be seen. Good night, Debbie. One patient has COPD and has an oxygen saturation of 88%. One person has has come in with leg pain and is complaining of shortness of breath, and and has become fearful that she might die. And then the other patient has diffuse abdominal pain. Who do you see first? And so most people would say, oh, I'm going to go see that person with an oxygen saturation of 88%. No, you go and see the person that has leg pain and an impending sense of doom, because that's probably a blood clot that's going to break through and go to the lung. Because impending doom is one of the signs of that. And then the person's got leg pain. That's the person I would see first. The person that has COPD who has an oxygen level of 88%, a person with COPD needs a lower oxygen level to incite them to breathe. If you give somebody who has COPD too much oxygen, it'll knock down their drive to breathe because they're CO2 retainers. So a person that has COPD that has an oxygen level of 88% is just fine. But it's those kinds of things and that's how I learned to read critically. Telemetry ICU sounds heavy. Yeah. Well, all ICUs telemetry. Danny Girl says, of course not. We just had a required seminar on dealing with emotional fallout of sudden death that mentioned nothing about it either, but they're at least acknowledging it's happening now. So they're acknowledging the thing is happening, but they're pretending that they don't have any idea why. Do I have that right? It's hospital-wide, not just ICU, making calling codes challenging. Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I have a friend who's a whistleblower for the VA, and I need to get her on here. But they were seeing all kinds of issues, and they were not allowed to chart that the person was jabbed. In fact, there was an area that you could chart that the person was jabbed, and they were specifically told, the nurses were told, do not chart in that box. Pharmacy fills that out. So she went to pharmacy and was like, hey, when you fill that out, who does that go to? Are you sending that on to VAERS? Because you're required to report any post-vaccine hospitalization, whether it's related or not. You know, if somebody has a car accident post-vaccine and ends up in the hospital, you have to report that because we're looking for trends. So what you're looking for is this. We were seeing all these pretend this is happening. We're seeing all these car accidents post-jab, so after the immunization, and we're seeing a trend in that. So then you're like, okay, there's a trend. We need to investigate. So you start investigating. Do these people have issues with their perception, with their vision, with their hearing, with their cognitive function, with their reflexes? Why are we seeing more car accidents? So that's what VAERS is for, is to look for trends. And that's why you're supposed to report, this is CDC, says you're supposed to report everything that requires hospitalization after these COVID vaccines, because they're supposed to be looking for trends. They're not. They're ignoring them. But hospitals now are like, oh, we don't have to report it because we don't think it's vaccine related. That's not for them to decide because we're looking for trends. So she went to the pharmacist and was like, are you guys reporting this to VAERS? She's like, we don't do anything with that checkbox on whether they're vaccinated or not. We thought you guys or the doctors were filling that out. So she asked the doctors, and the doctors are like, no, we don't fill that out. We thought you were filling it out. So then she went to the supervisors at the VA and said, hey, nobody's filling this out. There's nowhere for it to go. You can't even document in the chart anywhere that the patient was vaccinated on this date or whatever. And so they took her out of her leadership position, her management position, and put her in a closet, basically, and gave her the job of calling to check on people who had recalled CPAP units. And she's ended up having to leave her job and has an EEOC claim against the VA. Speaking of which, I need to get back with her on that. First Last says, Muammar Gaddafi got all of African countries that produce oil to only accept gold. Next year, Hillary Clinton got Libya turned to crap just to keep the petrodollar working. Right, well, now you've got BRICS, which, all these countries are deciding that they're not going to use the dollar as their currency for buying oil. And, countries like Africa are tired of the United States government telling them what they can and can't do and lording over them for all of our, we care about equity bullshit. We routinely take advantage of and abuse brown people in other countries. As a rule, pharmaceutical companies like to do all their testing there. In the Philippines and, you know what I mean, Haiti, Africa, because these people have no station in life. You know, they don't have any means to fight you. I mean, the African people have gotten so tired of it that they won't take vaccines because they were hit with, was it tetanus or TB? I can't remember, that had HCG in the vaccine, human chorionic gonadotropin, which is what your body makes when you're pregnant. And so they were putting it in these vaccines, which causes the body to build antibodies against HCG and prevents pregnancy. And they were not told this about this tetanus, or I can't remember what vaccine it was, but they were pushing for only for women, girls 12 and up, to, you know, to women of childbearing age, to get these vaccines. Weren't pushing men to get them. And then this Catholic charity there was getting complaints from these women that their periods were all messed up and, you know, they were miscarrying and not able to have, and so they all figured out it was because of this shot. They had the shot tested and found HCG in it. And that's not by accident. So this, I mean, I don't want to hear anything from our government about BLM or institutional racism. It's all bullshit, 100%. They do not care about black people, and that is proven by what they have done to people of color in poor countries for as long as those poor countries have existed. Africa used to be a rich, rich country, and now they're so corrupt. A lot of that's our fault. You know, we've arranged coups, and I mean, Zelensky is only in power in Ukraine because Victoria Nuland of the State Department, I think, helped arrange a coup there to get him in. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I mean, that's fact. That's documented fact. Most large hospitals have separate monitoring for ICU. Yeah. We did too. We're small, so I get it all, even PACU and L&D at times. So you're right, yeah. We are seeing more car accidents post-jab. Good example. Are we seeing more car accidents post-jab? Interesting. Do Not Mind Me says, and the reason I say, your guys, try to remember to say your names when I read the comments, is because when the live stream is done, all these comments disappear. So I don't want people to think I'm just randomly saying stuff. Do Not Mind Me says, the main issue with data, GIGO, yes, garbage in, garbage out. As soon as medical organizations start playing cover, all the data is skewed. Yeah, statistics are meaningless. Clinical trials are meaningless because they just figure out what the outcome is and then they skew the data to match that. Polio too, yes. Gold and silver, good backup, absolutely. Real Dream says, yep. Do Not Mind Me says, just look what they've done in poor countries like Detroit, Chicago, and Atlanta. I'm from Michigan, just downriver of Detroit, so yes, I know. And I don't understand why they keep voting Democrat. I'm like, you've been voting Democrat, you know, for almost a century, and all it's gotten you is destruction. Why would you keep, like, what do you have to lose by trying somebody else? The red towel is moving. Do you have AC? Oh, there's a fan on the floor. You freaked me out. Yeah, the red towel is moving. So there's 2 AC units in the RV. The one in here they're both really loud, but the one in here is right over me, so I didn't want you guys to have to listen to that, so I turned the one in the bedroom on and put a fan on to blow it in here. And my tootsies are freezing. My toes are so cold. Lots of accidents because of medical emergencies. I'm going to look into that, see if anybody's tracking that. I'll reach out to some of my data friends. RJ says the owner, CEO, whatever, was on a podcast and the subject of losing the chats came up. He was surprised and said he'd look into it. Oh yeah, Chris. Yeah, Chris is the whatever of CEO, I think, of Rumble. And he didn't know that the live chats, he was surprised that they weren't available. Like, the live chats aren't comments, I don't think, are even available. Hey guys that are on YouTube, when you leave a live comment during the chat, does that stay in the comment section after the live stream is over? Because it doesn't on Rumble. It's just completely gone, which is frustrating because a lot of people will want to go back and look at a comment somebody made. Somebody will recommend a product or a book or whatever, and there's no way for you to go back and look at that chat. And I was going to start saving them, but who's got that kind of memory? I mean, I go through so much memory saving, 9 hours, 8 hours of video a week. Oh, the owner CEO. Do not mind me, lived in Taylor for a while. That's so cool. So my aunt still lives in Lincoln Park, and I lived in Trenton and Gibraltar. So, I mean, we were basically neighbors. I moved in, I think, 83. RJ, geez, scare the crap out of Penny with the moving towel. It did scare me. I get creeped. This is why I don't watch scary movies, because I can get creeped out easy. Ignorance votes Democrat. He learned a few things on that podcast. I would love to talk to this Chris guy. I need to find his email. My concerns are, if you're watching Rumble on your television through Roku or Apple TV, there's no way to subscribe to a channel from a video. So say you don't automatically subscribe to my channel, but you're scrolling through and you're like, wonder what this video is. And you click on it and you're like, wow, I really like that. You cannot subscribe to that channel from your TV like you can on YouTube. You cannot like the video. And you also can't save it anywhere. There's no playlists. So that's a real problem because a lot of people watch on there. I watch on there most times. I'm only on the computer if I'm involved in the chat, but I'm still watching on my TV. The other problem is when you find that video of that person that you're not subscribed to, there's no way to subscribe to them other than to go to the search feature, type in the name of the video or the name of whoever's channel that is, and go to the channel that way, which you can't do that on your TV at all. So you'd have to get on your phone or your computer, type in the name of the channel, go and subscribe to it. And most people just won't do that. And, it's hard to get people even in the app or on the Rumble channel, via the web, to like a video anyway. And I think that's probably why a lot of people don't like, because they're watching on TV and there's no way to like it. And they're not going to get their computer or their phone out just to go and like a video that they're watching, which I understand. And then playlists would be great because you could save videos you like. Like you can't go back and look at your history of videos you've watched. They're working on it. They had to move their whole operation from Canada to Florida, and that's been recent. So, Real Dream says, I'm not sure anyone is really voting these people in. I think it's the voting machines. I think it's the shadow government, but I mean, Trump got in once. I don't think they expected it. They made sure he didn't get in again, though. Janik says, real, I agree. It's also these young kids who normally don't vote, getting their mail-in ballots, filled out by their parents. Oh, geez. We need to stop mail-in. I'm totally fine with absentee ballots. Oh, Craxon Jackson, you're so sweet. Thank you. I'm okay with absentee ballots. I just don't think that we should be using mail-in ballots. An absentee ballot's a whole different thing. You got to request it, go down there, fill out the forms. It's not just randomly or what is that called? Unilaterally mailing everybody this thing, That's just, there's just no way to do that without there being fraud. I watch Rumble also, says AJ. And there is no live chat replay like YouTube. So on YouTube, yes, live chat replays with YouTube videos. Interesting. So if you go back and you watch this video on YouTube, you'll be able to see all the comments that were made on YouTube. Interesting. Well, and you can see them on Facebook too. If you go back and you watch them, they'll pop up in real time as you're rewatching the broadcast, but you can't do it on Rumble. Not yet. I use my computer, phone, YouTube account on TV. I log into yeah, you can definitely do it on YouTube. You can subscribe, you can like, all that. You just can't do it on Rumble yet. We really, really need it because all of us are really wanting off YouTube. If I could leave YouTube today, I would do it. And the thing is, I probably could. I don't have a whole lot of view. It's interesting. I got one warning on YouTube, I think I was talking about the nebulizer treatments for COVID. And ever since, in the early days when I first started doing videos, I'd get 1,200 views at least on a video when I first started, before I even had 100 people on my channel. And now if I get 200 views on YouTube, it blows my mind. So I think I got shadow banned with that warning because I don't know why it would drop off so suddenly. Oh, I got that one. Okay. And thank you, Cracks and Jackson. That just, the cool thing about Rumble is when you guys donate on Rumble, we get all of that. I mean, there's like a little processing fee, but other than, and that's just to get you paid. But other than that, you know, Rumble doesn't keep a share of that, which is really, really nice. I mean, they charge even less of a processing fee than YouTube does, or not YouTube, PayPal. So yeah, thank you for that, because I get to keep, you know, all but just a few cents of that. Okay, so we did that one on the Saudi prince. I mean, what's a broadcast without talking about a Saudi prince? We've got a bunch of them here because this is Kentucky and thoroughbred country. Okay, share screen. Give me a second here. I hate that this whole screen thing's not working tonight. Oh, this one. This is one I didn't hear anybody cover this week. I've been forced out over Partygate report, says Boris Johnson. And I don't know how much you guys follow. I found that in the United States, we're very ignorant of what goes on in other countries. But other countries, people that live in other countries, always seem to know what's going on in the U.S. I noticed when I had a foreign exchange student years ago, and she said, "You Americans, you have no idea what's going on in other countries, nor do you care." And I'm like, I care. I think the media assumes we don't care, so they give us very little of it. But I think we need to be more knowledgeable about what's going on in other countries because we're linked into all of that. It's kind of like the human body. Everything works together, as does, you know, the whole geopolitical stuff. I've been forced out over Partygate report, says Boris Johnson. And this is by Michael Shields McNamee. Boris Johnson is stepping down immediately as Tory MP after receiving an advance copy of the Partygate report. The report by the MHP-led Privilege Committee looked into whether he misled Parliament over lockdown-breaking parties at Downing Street. The ex-PM angrily accused the inquiry of trying to drive me out. The Privileges Committee said Mr. Johnson had impugned the integrity of the House of Commons. The committee said it had followed the procedures and the mandate of the House at all times and would meet on Monday to publish its report promptly. In the former Prime Minister's fiery resignation statement, he said the process was the very definition of a kangaroo court. Mr. Johnson received a copy on Thursday and claimed it was riddled with inaccuracies and reeks of prejudice. He did admit misleading Parliament when he gave evidence to the Privileges Committee in a combative hearing in March, but denied doing it on purpose. He said social distancing had not been perfect at gatherings in Downing Street during COVID. Why were there gatherings? There shouldn't have been any gatherings. How are you? That doesn't make it. You were violating your own rules, but denied doing it on purpose. We didn't mean to get that close. I didn't mean to kiss that girl and hug that other person. That was just, social distancing is hard. You're not even supposed to be in the same room with these people. He said social distancing had not been perfect at gatherings in Downing Street during COVID lockdowns, but insisted the guidelines as he understood them. The guidelines as I understood them were followed at all times. Well, I mean, except the social distancing and the not getting together with people that don't live in your house. I mean, other than all of that, we totally obeyed it. So anyway, he basically says they're out to get him. And, you know, they were following the guidelines as best as they could at the gatherings on Downing Street, while telling other people that they couldn't leave their houses, go to work, go to funerals, all of that. So he can suck eggs and pound sand. I'm over these people. And that's that. That's how I feel about that. We had a Saudi, RJ says, we had a Saudi royal stiff one of our premier hotels in St. Louis with an enormous bill back in the 90s. Actually, it seems like I remember that. RJ says, actually, it's by design. They totally keep us in the dark about our own country and globally. That's why they laugh at us. They know we don't know. Yeah, exactly. Fez 70 show? I don't know what that means. Wait. Fiona is my bitch. Hi, sweetheart. I haven't seen you in here in forever. Hug to you, sweetie. Thanks for the donation. Um, Here in the States, says RJ, they excused our leadership that got caught not following guidelines. Fauci at the stadium, Newsom, Whitmer, Pelosi, Obama. Yeah, they did. Do not mind me. We followed all the guidelines we wanted to follow. Yeah, exactly. Greetings and salutations, Fiona. Um, I know other people were kicked off YouTube and now have more viewers on Rumble. Yeah, I have more viewers on Rumble for sure. And I have way more engagement on Rumble. AJ, come over to Rumble. Lisa Jax, come on. Kay, come on. Everybody, let's all go to Rumble together. I'm trying to get us off that awful platform. Okay, let me go to the next one. Gosh, we're supposed to be done. You know, it is what it is on Friday nights. We just hang out. I hang until the chat slows down. I keep it going because I like hanging out with you guys. And Don's so tired on Friday. He's dead. He's dead by 9 o'clock. So you guys are my Friday night date. This one. This is such a good one. We probably are not going to be able to watch the video, which really sucks, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about it. How Wine and Candy Helped an Australian Woman Survive 5 Days in the Bushland by Emily Olson. And this is an older story, but this was the first article I'd seen on it. I knew about it, but I hadn't seen anybody write it up. So there she is. Look at her. God love her. I love that coat. A woman who went missing in the Australian wilderness after making a wrong turn survived for 5 days on wine and candy, local authorities said. The 48-year-old woman, who police identified in a press release as only Lillian, was rescued by helicopter on May 5th in the Mita Mita bushland, a stretch of dense eucalyptus forest in the southeastern state of Victoria. Lillian was driving toward Dartmouth Dam for a day trip from the nearby town of Bright when she hit a dead-end road and realized she'd made a wrong turn. As she tried to turn her car around, the vehicle became stuck in the mud. This would be my luck. Without cell service, she was unable to call for help. Health issues, this is my favorite part. I think it's the next paragraph. Health issues made it difficult for her to try to walk, police said, but ultimately may have helped her survive as she was able to use the car heater overnight to stay warm. Bless her heart. Temperatures as low as 35 degrees, you guys. Let me see if we can... No, I can't. I can tell that's not going to work. Planning for only okay, she's planning for only a 2-hour drive. Listen to this. Planning for only a 2-hour drive, Lillian had only a few snacks, some candy, and a bottle of wine. It's only a 2-hour drive. I'm going to pack some candy, some snacks, and a bottle of wine, which she intended as a gift for her mother, I bet. Lillian doesn't drink, police said, but she eventually consumed the bottle, her only liquid. Lillian's family reported her missing on April 30th after she'd failed to make a daily check-in call. Local media outlet News 7 said the bad weather limited local authorities' ability to search by air. The area is so vast, if you can imagine. We're talking about hundreds of kilometers that Lillian might be in, police spokesman Chris Parr told News 7 on the 4th day of the search. We don't have a starting point at the moment. Lillian's sister-in-law, Lisa Ip, told News 7 that Lillian was unfamiliar with the area, but excited to see it on her trip. Police and said Lillian hailed from Cheltenham, a suburb of the city of Melbourne. After 5 days, police finally spotted her by helicopter, standing on a dirt road and waving her arms, about 37 miles away from the nearest town. She wasn't going to make that walk. The video shows Lillian bending over in a gesture of sheer relief as a police car approaches on the ground. Quote, after being lost in the bush for 5 days, she was extremely relieved and grateful to see us, and we were just happy to see her, said Martin Torpy, a sergeant with the police department. Lillian was treated for dehydration in a nearby hospital, but otherwise appears to be healthy. Well, I guess, if you gotta have something to drink while you're stranded, wine is the way to go. Oh, you guys with the donations, stop it. Betty6020, thank you so much, honey bun. Pit Bull, this name is so hard for me. Pit Bullisaurio Rex. Saurio Rex. Hi to everyone. Hi, honey. Lady Jex. Hi, I took your advice. My husband said you Pied Pipered me. Wait. What advice? What advice, Lady Jex? Hi, Betty. Thank you for the donation, sweetheart. Janik. Oh, hell, drop me off with the wine and candy and a blanket, right? That's what I thought. Girlfriend says you look pretty tonight. Well, thank you. That's very sweet. Pit Bullisauria Rex. We need more likes to offset the... There's a dislike? Oh, who gave me a dislike? I did a video, I think it was Tuesday's book club. Book club. Book club is like the most benign thing that I do. And I got an angry face on Facebook, and I confronted it. I was like, okay, whoever posted the angry face, maybe search your own heart. I'm like, why wouldn't you just engage? If you have a disagreement with what I'm saying, just talk. It's an open format. Even when I had my Facebook group before I had to shut it down for censorship, I didn't throw people out who didn't agree with me about the vaccine. This would be the difference between people who were leery of the vaccine and people who weren't. Like, we were open to other people doing what they wanted to do. And I did, as long as they weren't ugly. I can call you Roy. Thank you. Oh, Lisa Jex, says Lady Jex. Got it. Oh, Pied Pipered you over to Rumble. I got it now. Anyway, I had one guy that was just routinely challenging me. He would say, well, when you look at this study, this statistical thing skews whatever. And people would get so annoyed with him because he always came back with some sort of debate. And I love the guy. I'm like, no. And so people would say, you need to kick him out of the group, and they'd go after him. And I'd say, whoa, hold on, you guys. He's making me so much better at this. He's challenging me to prove what I'm saying, to dig in deep and get the facts. And he made me so much better at podcasting. I will forever be grateful for him and his nature to debate things. So yeah, like I was amazed when other people that had other groups would throw someone out because they mentioned hydroxychloroquine or anything else they disagreed with. I'm like, they're just talking. Like, why does that need to be shut down? I was blown away by it. Cracks and Jackson, ignore the doomers, indeed. Isaac's mom says they don't talk because their heart condemns them. Oh, wow. That's profound. Wow. Yeah, you're right. They don't talk because their heart condemns them. I love that. It's called debate. The left doesn't like that. I don't even think it's, like, I've met apolitical people. I think they think they're apolitical, but they're really left-leaning. But I mean, I've run into argumentative people on the right about the vaccine that really believed in it, that followed me and listened to all my stuff and then went and got vaccinated anyway. And then they had problems. I'm like, stop it. Don't get any more of those. Quit. I can get you through this. I mean, like I said, we're at 9. I got to get my number changed on my website. I want to say we're at 974 that have downloaded the protocol that I know of, that have reached out to me and used my protocol that I researched and developed. That's over the counter. You don't need any prescription drugs. And we've had no hospitalizations, no deaths, and no long COVID. And people that have come to me that didn't know about the protocol, who've had long COVID, we've been able to get them resolved too. I say we, me working together with them. RJ says, I got muted for telling the podcaster to move on. He was repeating himself and drumming a point into the ground. Poof. No more comments. Did you get zapped? You got muted just for that? Especially because of the book you're... Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a book club. I was pretty clear what the book was. I just don't understand, like, why do you need the effort to leave an angry face? Just stop watching. There's lots of stuff on TV I don't like. I don't react to it. I'm like, wow, that sucks or is stupid or doesn't align with my values. I'll just watch something else. And I don't stop to leave a comment or thrash anyone or give a thumbs down. I mean, why would you put that negativity out into the world? What breaks you sometimes makes you better. Almost always, actually, if you have a good attitude. Betty60 says debating with someone is fine, but when they commandeer a conversation, then it gets annoying. Yes. So I have a family member, I will not mention her name, but she's very left. Like a Democrat could eat a baby in the street and she would still vote for him. And she's mean and she's very, so like I would make a comment on my Facebook page and then she would see it as her duty to come in and debate everybody in the comment section. And she was mean about it. And so I would say, hey, like she would call people, she called one of my friends who's now died of breast cancer. She called one of my friends xenophobe. And I said, okay, enough. Just because she has an opinion that you don't like does not make her xenophobic. And I said, you need to stop. And so she would keep on. And I'm like, if you don't stop, I'm going to block you. And so she wouldn't stop. And so I blocked her. And she was so offended by that. So we went and saw her sometime after that, or maybe talked to her. I can't remember. And she's like, that's not how you handle that. You should have just spoken to me. I said, I did speak to you. I asked you 3 times to stop and you didn't. And you were calling people in my comment section, people that are in my tribe who supported me. I was the COVID-19 warrior that almost died from this crap. And these are people who loved me through this. And you're going to call them names? I don't think so. And we don't speak. She uninvited us to Christmas because she assumed we voted for Trump. We didn't tell her who we voted for. We've not been there for Christmas since. It has been so hard on my husband. And to, because his parents, well, now I've given up who it is, but, his parents have died. This is his only sibling. And because of her politics, she has completely cut us off and treats us like we're second-class stupid people that need to, and the thing that she would do in the comment section that would just piss me off is she just dumps links. So you can find a link, you can find a website anywhere, an article anywhere that will dispute what I'm telling you. We can do that all day long. She doesn't even really assess it. She's just like, this thing says the opposite of what you're saying, so you're wrong. And I'm like, well, how do you know that thing's not wrong? Well, how do you know you're not wrong? And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why are we doing this? If you don't agree and you think I'm like, she actually said to me in a comment that maybe the reason that I got better on hydroxychloroquine was because of the placebo effect. And I thought, you know what? You can just F right off, all the way off, and keep effing off when you get there. And then when you get to the end of the F off road, just F off right off the cliff. After everything I went through, almost dying, being sick for 53 days, taking a Facebook campaign, going after the state pharmacy board to get me medication. I mean, I had viral sepsis, heart inflammation, pneumonia in both lungs. My kidneys and liver were failing. I had shingles and bed sores. I'd lost 14 pounds of muscle mass. My hair was falling out. And you're going to tell me that the hydroxychloroquine was a freaking placebo effect? Yeah, placebo effect's always really good for sepsis. And it just pissed me off because I'm like, I've been a critical care nurse for over 20 years. 20 years at the time, I guess. And you're an art major. You're going to tell me? No, you're not going to tell me anything. And then act like, because she can produce an article. I'm like, anybody can produce an article. You have no idea what you're talking about. And she's just as jabbed up as she could be. She'd have her face shield and her mask and her gloves. I'm surprised she didn't have a plexiglass tunnel that she shopped through. It was absolutely ridiculous. I just have so much anger for her. I need to work on that. Oh, Isaac's mom, I wish I could hug you. Unfortunately, I can't talk to any of my family except one sister. Well, you're our family, and you can talk to all of us here. And that's part of what I'm trying to do here is to help people have some connection because so many of us have lost it with family. Luckily, my kids kind of came around. RJ says they demand sources, and then laugh and discount the expert. That's it. I'm like, you give me a source, and then I explain to you that study is flawed because of this or that, and you're like, no, it says this at the top, so that's the argument. It's just like fact checkers who then just are like, this isn't true because Washington Post said it's not true. And I'm like, that's not a fact check. That's an opinion. And I'm like, how do you argue with people that don't even know the difference between a factual source and an opinion source? And people that are smart enough to know better, it's just crazy. Um, First Class says, I'm going to Rumble. I'm just here in the tubes because of your shadow banning. You're very sweet. Thank you. First Class says, I got banned from Twitter just for saying, that must be recent because I know they've been going after people who use the word groomer. I love it. I love that the accurate bad terms for things, or the accurate terms for bad things, are now offensive. I'm like, being a child groomer or molester or working on somebody so that you can do that to them, that's a bad thing. And they don't even want us to call them pedophiles now. We want to call, because they may not have acted on it. They're minor attracted persons. Well, you think if we stop stigmatizing it and calling them minor attracted persons, that they're more or less likely to go through with it? Because it seems to me like we're normalizing it, and that's going to make it more likely that you would do it because it doesn't seem bad anymore, and because you're not pushed out to the fringe of society. Call me crazy, but I think that we should use words that share how something is evil, like murder, homicide, grooming, pedophilia. They're supposed to have a negative connotation. They're supposed to make you feel shame if you're doing those things. We're now trying to eliminate shame, and shame about things that are intrinsically evil. Oh, we can't. But going to church now, we're not going to have any of that. And the mention of God, we're not going to have any of that. And love of country, we can't have any of that. Well, screw all of you. What the hell? Are you kidding me? I can't call that person a pedophile. I have to call them a minor attracted person. And I'm not allowed to have the American flag out in front of my house or displayed in any other way, because it might hurt your delicate sensibilities that are okay with adults screwing little kids. You're messed up. You have a depraved mind. I can't help somebody with a depraved mind. That's like a possession of that person by evil. I mean, when you are complaining about how the terms used to describe a pedophile, and then rejecting the idea of someone else having a faith and believing in God, not pushing it on you, just them having it themselves, then this is completely bizarro, upside down world, and I don't know that there's any fixing it. But I'm done playing games with those people. I'm done with it. Before I was like a live and let live kind of person, and that doesn't affect me, and whatever you do, well, it affects me now. Had you kept it where it didn't affect me and it didn't affect children and it wasn't causing the downfall of our society, that would have been one thing. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. You just pushed it too far. It was like the whole BLM riots. We were behind the idea of police not being brutal to people because of their race. Everyone was okay with that. They're like, no, that's terrible. We all agree. But then you started burning down cities. And it did not help your cause. Then the leaders of your movement embezzled your money. Then the transgender movement took over your civil rights cause. And now we've lost all respect for you. And we're fearful of you. All of these stereotypes that I didn't have because I grew up. I was born in 1970, and we were taught that you treated everybody the same and that you judged people by the content of their character. I know everybody's tired of hearing that, but we were taught not to point out the differences in people. And now that's completely turned on its head, and you're supposed to treat someone differently because of their race. Well, that's exhausting. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to categorize all these people and then figure out how I'm supposed to treat them differently so that they can have equity. I don't know how to do that. And I'm not going to do it. And they can't even tell you, their whole theory is, well, you should give away your house to somebody of color, who can't afford that house. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I was a single mom most of my life. I've worked really hard for what I have. I don't live in excess. And you don't get to tell me what I do with with my money, period. Just like I'm not going to tell you what to do with yours. I'm blown away by these people. I'm like, you're absolutely insane. You can't even talk to an insane person. These people are as crazy as the lady who hit me with her boob. You guys remember that story? I think everybody here's heard it. If you've never been hit with a huge naked pendulous breast, you haven't lived, let me tell you. Do not get me started on that. Pedos are pedos. Hang them high. I agree. My dad used to say, nail their nuts to a board and just push them backwards. I'm like, oh, gosh, that's brutal. RJ says they demand sources and then laugh and discount the expert. Yes, that's exactly what they do. I've quit providing sources for these people. I give them to everybody else, but for these people who will not, who just want to argue and not be convinced, I'm not wasting my time on that. And people used to reach out to me. They're like, hey, I'm having an argument with my sister or this other person. Can you chime in? And I'm like, no, because that person doesn't want to have their mind changed. And so it can't be done. So why would you waste your time, and why would you put yourself through that kind of frustration and torment? I won't do it. People have a right to be ignorant. Okay, here's one. Turtle takes a ride in the back of a Kentucky police cruiser. This is one of the stupidest stories you're going to hear. I mean, the shark one's way worse. If you missed the shark story, go back and watch. This is by Ben Hooper. A turtle found loitering in a parking lot of a Kentucky bank was apprehended and loaded into the back of a squad car, but ultimately released. The Glasgow Police Department said an officer responded to Edmonton State Bank on a report of a turtle occupying the parking lot and refusing to leave. Really? Somebody from a bank called and said, there's a turtle in our parking lot and he refuses to leave. We need 911 police assistance. May I suggest you tase this person, officer? The department shared a photo of the shelled suspect riding in the back of a police cruiser. The turtle was given a warning and released at a nearby body of water. This is a news story. People at a bank could not deal with this turtle in their parking. What is wrong with people, you guys? The turtle would have wandered off eventually. Like what? The turtle refused to leave? Did they go out and say to the turtle, you need to go, sir. You can't be in our parking lot. You are of the shelled variety and we don't like your type here. So please, go. Be gone with you. And if you don't go, we're calling the freaking cops. And the cops went out. That's what gets me. The cops are like, we'll be right there, ma'am. They race to the scene. They catch the turtle. We're going to give you one chance. And if you don't leave, we're going to put you in the car. We're going to haul you far away from your home. You're never going to find your way back. And we're going to drop you off by a body of water. What if they did this to a person? Say Tom's at the bank. Say Cracks and Jackson's at the bank, right? He's in the parking lot. He refuses to leave. And the police go and they get him. And then they drop him off near a body of water in an area that he's unfamiliar with. That's next. They're coming after Cracks and Jackson. I don't want that to happen. We've got to stop crap like this. Somebody at a bank called 911. I mean, if it were like an extremely enormous turtle or an aggressive, fast-moving turtle, because there's a lot of those, that's different. There's a little box of cookies in that tote that's in the back seat of that cruiser. That turtle doesn't look much bigger than that box of cookies. And does it not occur to them, you're calling the police to pick up a turtle and take it away? Like they didn't call animal control. They called the police. 911. 911, what's your emergency? Yeah, this is Penny at Edmonton State Bank here in Glasgow. We've got a turtle in our parking lot. Now, we've been out there several times. We've spoken with the turtle, and no matter what we've said to him, he refuses to leave. We're going to need police emergency assistance out here. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We'll send out a cruiser right now. They're in the neighborhood. It won't be long. That's like calling 911 to find out what time it is. What the heck? Like this should be if this were a normal world, this would be a story about the bank, someone at the bank, misusing 911 and being charged for it. Some minimal fine. That's what the story should be about. I just, I think they thought it was, oh, this is a fun human interest story. It's really not. It's really not. This is people at a bank being stupid. All right. I wanted to find this one that it was an example of, oh, I know what it was. It was on the Trump documents. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Partygate. I hope it wasn't in the... Give me just a second. I think it's that one. I wanted to see... It's gone. It went with that link that I lost, or that window that I lost. Okay, so the story is, and I want you guys to watch for it because you're going to see it. You're going to see the visual that you'll get either in images or video is boxes stacked up in a bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. And then the other one that you're going to see, and it looks like a bathroom that was like constructed and isn't used, right? So there's all these boxes stacked up in there, like file boxes. The other image you're going to see is a storeroom, and you're not going to see it from me, but you're going to see it up in the coming days if you haven't. The other one is a storeroom full of boxes where a box is tipped over onto the floor. And they're using these two images in articles talking about nuclear codes and all kinds of other stuff. And they put those images with it so that you will associate those two things. So that you'll look at an image of all these file boxes stored in a bathroom with the door open and think, oh my gosh, the nuclear codes were stored in that bathroom. Those are just boxes that are stacked. You have no idea what's in them. But they're putting them in that article as though that's where those documents were, which is quite different because these documents were under lock and key. Those documents were in that room, but those likely were not the confidential documents. They're just putting it's like with hydroxychloroquine. Every article that you could find about hydroxychloroquine during COVID had Trump attached to the word. You could not see the word hydroxychloroquine without seeing the word Trump next to it. And they were trying to associate people's hatred for Trump with this fear of hydroxychloroquine. And it must be a stupid idea and a stupid drug and a dangerous drug because this person is stupid and dangerous, and we've associated the two. So you're going to see that a lot. And I want you to, when you're looking at stories and articles and videos on things and news, I want you to start thinking to yourself, and you'll start catching it now that I've said it. Is that just a stock video, or is that just an image of boxes in a room that they've put there? Is that actually where they found those documents? So another example is, I saw pictures of, I want to say, it was like the wildfires that simultaneously all started at the same time in Canada. And they were showing pictures of forest fires, right? And it occurred to me, I wonder if these pictures are even from this or if they're just pulling pictures for it. Because we just automatically assume a lot of the time that when a news article comes out or a video or news story comes out, that those images are actually associated with that story. And 9 times out of 10, they're not. And so I reverse image searched those, and they were from California forest fires like 12 years ago. They had nothing to do with anything that was going on in Canada. So there's no real news. They're giving you a story. They're finding pictures that give a visual that support their story that actually have nothing to do with the story. So I'd be curious. You guys let me know if you do it. And let me know if you find it, where you grab that image and then you reverse image search it and you find out it had nothing to do with that story at all. I'd be curious to see how many times in a week we're able to catch it. And I'll let you know how it turns out for me. Life is too short to be mean, Craxon Jackson. Amen to that. Isaac's mom says, unfortunately, I got that one. They demand sources and then laugh. Yeah, they do. They're jerks. All right, next one. We're almost done here, guys. You're getting tired, I can tell. And then, of course, at the 11th hour, we'll get like 4 or 5 people that'll come in. did the Jim Jordan? No, we didn't do the Jim Jordan one. Here's one. Okay. That's, oh no, that's right. I didn't think it came up on my screen. Even my image on, that I'm seeing on StreamYard is messed up. Like the video's got it bad. I should have restarted the internet. We're having some issues with our high-speed fiber internet that I bought and spent all this money for so I would have great connection. Okay. Beloved New York swan babies rescued after mother was eaten by family, police say. This is by Karen Matthews. Hey guys, leave me a comment. Let me know you're still there, because both of my chats have gone dead. You might just be riveted by what I'm saying, but I want to make sure. The village of Manlius in upstate New York is mourning the loss of Faye, a swan who was stolen from the town's pond over the weekend, along with 4 cygnets. The cygnets, or baby swans, I didn't even know they were called that, were recovered, but officials say the mama swan was eaten. Quote, the mother swan was consumed. Manlius Mayor Paul Warhol said Wednesday. Sad to say, but that's what they did. 3 teenagers were arrested Tuesday. Arrested. 3 teenagers were arrested Tuesday on charges including grand larceny and criminal mischief in connection with the swan napping. This is in New York. People push people in front of freaking subways and don't go to jail. These kids, I mean, it's not a great thing to do, admittedly, but these are wild animals. These kids caught the goose, killed it and cooked it, which, in years past would have just been considered lunch. I don't know what they were going to do with the cygnets. Okay. In connection, what they were charged. Mute swans like Faye and her mate Manny are not native to North America. They were introduced as an ornamental species and are loved for their beauty, but are considered invasive by wildlife officials. They're an invasive species. They cause damage to the ecosystem. Let's arrest these kids for catching one. Arrest them. Charge them with grand larceny. Right? Yes, charged with grand larceny and criminal mischief. These are teenagers for eating a bird and capturing the babies. Granted, I'm not saying this was a nice thing to do. I would be upset if my children did this. But people push people in front of subways. People will try to stop someone who's trying to kill people in the subways, and they will go to jail. These kids cooked an animal and ate it. Grand larceny. Hunting swans is legal in a few U.S. states, but not in New York. I wouldn't think it would occur to children to be like, wonder if we're allowed to hunt swans. I don't know how old these teenagers were. Southeast of Syracuse, the village of Manlius has a swan insignia on its website, as well as on merchandise like hats and TV. Why is this sentence even necessary? They have a swan insignia on their website, and there's merchandise with swans on it. Like, you're really killing yourself to write an article here. The swans have been part of this village for well over 100 years. I'm sure not these swans. Since the swans are an invasive species, I'm guessing that's why they've been there for 100 years. And since they're an invasive species, I would assume that there are too many of them. And that's why they're considered an invasive species. This is basically hunting, you guys. The swans have been a part of this village for well over 100 years, Warhol said. We're known for our swans. For over a decade, Faye and Manny swanned about in the village pond, and each spring hatched and raised cygnets. In 2010, they were donated. Donated! There was no cost for these. How are you charging these kids with grand larceny? These were a donation. They were given for free. They're an invasive species. They're a wild animal, and we're charging teenagers with grand larceny. I should have been a lawyer. And each spring hatched and raised the cygnets. In 2010, they were donated by a biologist and self-described swan guru. Thanks a lot, Michael Bean, for introducing an invasive species to the area. Police, like starlings, are an invasive species. Police said Faye and this year's cygnets went missing on Saturday, but that officials weren't notified until Monday. Somebody called the police because the swans were missing. Oh, good. Thank you, Kay. I'm just blown. Like I said, I don't think this was a great act on the parts of the teenagers, but a fine, community service. Really? Grand larceny for donated. This is property, basically, that belongs to no one because it was donated. They're wild animals and invasive species that the kids ate. They didn't just maliciously murder it. They killed it for food. So they say. Now, if they maliciously murdered it, then you've got animal cruelty. That would be more appropriate than grand larceny. The charge doesn't even make sense. One of the suspects who worked at the store, after notice went out of the missing birds, a concerned citizen spotted 2 of the baby swans in a store in nearby Salina and called authorities. One of the suspects who worked at the store confessed, so these kids are old enough to work, confessed to taking part in the crime, along with the 2 other teenagers, police said. The remaining 2 swans were found at the first suspect's Syracuse home. So they didn't harm the babies. And the babies were returned, so everybody's made whole there, except for the one they ate. The young swans will be cared for and returned to the pond. Maybe make these kids engage in the care of these babies and rehabilitation of them and the release. That would be a good way to handle this. The remaining 2 swans were found. Okay, the young swans will be cared for and returned to the pond, or make them work and pay for this. That's got to be done to get them back to the pond. But Faye won't return to the pond. No, because they ate Faye. She was given to a relative to cook. Okay. They brought it back to an aunt's house, and the aunt prepared it. They brought her a swan, and she cooked it, and they ate it. This is a crime, you guys. And it says that hunting them is not allowed. Well, they didn't hunt them, really. They captured them. Hunting is when you take out a weapon and you go and you kill these things. They actually captured it. And then they took it home and ate it. I don't know that qualifies. Like if you catch a deer, you drive it back to your house, and then you kill it and eat it. Is that hunting, or is that just processing of something that you've caught? I don't know. This is like the turtle story. I'm like, what's wrong with people? 2 of the suspects, here's the ages, 16 and 17, were released to their parents because they're juveniles. The third, who is 18, is awaiting arraignment. Information on their attorneys wasn't available. Am I wrong, you guys? Is this insane? Is this so a huge overreaction? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Hello from Uvalde, Texas. First time catching a live. Well, welcome. Wow, what is your name? VRYBLSD something of God. Very blessed of God. Is that it? And then is it Vicky? Well, welcome from Texas. I'm glad you're here. What do you think about the swan eating? First, last, thank you for welcoming people. That is so kind. You rape someone in New York, you get caught, get released, and they give you a pack of condoms. Yeah. But they took this bird to an aunt, who was like, yeah, I'll cook it. Maybe she was like my great-grandma Desdy. Desdy would kill snakes and cook them and all kinds of things. They, like I said, I don't think they really hunted it because they captured it. They didn't go out and shoot it. I don't know. The whole thing just seems really crazy to me. And, yes, these boys might need some guidance and instruction, definitely need to be involved in paying for the care of the babies since their mother's gone. And definitely need, 80 hours of community service. But grand larceny for a donated swan? I don't think so. Maybe it's just Rumble that's dropped off. Rumble, are you guys still there? I do see them in the thing up here. Very blessed of God. Mother of 7. Well, I bow to that. 7? We've got 4. I can't imagine 7. That's kind of, it is, well, I don't know how they killed it. So they may have killed it humanely. I don't know about that. They didn't harm the babies. So there was no cruelty there. Other than killing their mother. But, anybody who hunts does the same thing. I just, do you, I agree that it wasn't a nice thing to do at all, and that these boys are wayward and probably need, like I said, community service. They need to be responsible for paying for this. Perhaps they need to be assigned community service surrounding working at an animal shelter or something like that. Something that I think this is a good time to help turn these boys around and have a teachable moment with them. I don't think throwing them in jail for grand larceny is how you fix this problem. Um, I don't know. Were they hungry? Did they have enough food? I mean, they took it to an aunt to cook, so they ate it for food. I mean, to me, if you're just being malicious, you don't take the thing home and cook it and then take care of the babies. I don't know. Rumble is showing comments. I am not seeing any comments. The last comment I have on Rumble is they demand sources and then laugh and discount them from RJ, and that's been a while back. Boy, there's a lot of comments. I love that you guys have been so engaged tonight. And thank you so much for everybody that's donated and everybody who doesn't donate but participates or prays for the channel, all that stuff. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if you're on Rumble, leave me a comment, because I've not seen a comment in quite a while. I mean, since like 2 topics ago. Lisa, you were over there. Will you leave me a comment over there? Maybe the chat's just gone quiet. It happens. Okay, I think we've got one more. Maybe. Oh, this one. We actually might have 2 more after this. Okay. This is going to blow your minds. Oh, no, that's not a new one. Dang it. Okay, that's weird. Now comments are disappearing on Rumble. Nope, there it is. They demand sources. Yeah, that's the last one I've got. Maybe pop the chat back in and refresh. I'm scared to do that. I'm scared I'll lose the channel. Oh, dang it. That. What the heck? Well, there's the channel I lost. Okay, let me see if I can see new comments now. Oh, there they are. Okay, I don't know what happened. There's comments. I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't see any of these. Oh my gosh, there's a ton of them. I don't know what happened. My whole thing just locked up. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I was not ignoring you. Betty says, keep effing off and keep going. Penny, I can think of no other place I'd rather be on a Friday night than with you. I'm just so over it. Isaac says, I love you very much. I love my new family. I'm so glad, sweetheart. RJ says, I don't hardly believe any experts. Oh, no, me neither. I don't trust any of them. They've permanently ruined us for that. It didn't post your comment. Interesting. Yeah, I just, for some reason, my mind locked up. Lady Jax, you can't reason with people who have been taken in by the left narrative. No, you can't. Betty 60, fact checkers are paid and use their own opinions to judge what's posted. Very smart. Yes, they do. Janik says, right. Cracks and Jackson, people angry, deep breath. RJ, harboring pedophilia thoughts to themselves. Pedophilia terms won't matter because nobody would know. Pedophilia is a crime. Yeah, the thoughts aren't a crime, but nor should they be. We should avoid you like the plague, but, you can't criminalize thoughts. These people like that lack any kind of common sense. Indeed. It's like a religion. I've never seen people so entrenched that even logic and reason won't convince them. RJ says, well, look what they did with Stormy glorifying her career choice. Exactly. They want to complain about the objectification of women, but then want to legalize prostitution. And celebrate strippers and hookers and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't make any sense. They're on both sides. The whole thing's weird. Isaac's mom says only Satan wants to desecrate children and all mankind. That's right. Satan comes to steal and destroy. Still kill and destroy. RJ says the whole world was appalled with George's death. The riots were ill-timed and lost credibility. Yes. Yeah, see, I haven't seen comments for a while on there. I'm tired of hearing the word racist. That's the thing. They have so overused these slurs like racist and xenophobic and transphobic that they don't mean anything anymore. Because everything is racist. Your stove is racist. Climate change is racist. Roads are racist. It means nothing. They've completely diluted. They're hurting their cause. A plan for decades to take this place down. You're right. Boob breast lady story. Oh, you've not heard the boob story. Okay, I'll tell that one real quick. My husband's been hit by one, but he doesn't mind mine either. He'll take all the boob beatings he can get. Where's your source? Where's your source? Stop harassing me. Look it up. Yep. I really like this channel, Glenn. I found it. Well, Danny girl, I'm glad you're here, sweetheart. RJ, that had to be a small town. Welcome home, friend. Like I said, to many people have lost any common sense. You're right. Build large mansions for BLM, right? RJ says they need to find the 9/11 callers when there isn't an emergency. I agree. Those police had to stop what they were doing and go out and pick up this turtle and drive it, take it for a ride. You forgot to use your cry voice, Penny, when you called 911. Oh yes, 911. Yes, this is Penny at the Edmonton Bank. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. There's God, I don't know if I can say it. There's a turtle. Yeah, a turtle. Hard shell. Yeah, he's in the parking lot, and we've been trying to get him to leave, but no matter what we say to him, he just wanders around slowly. We think he might be a racist. Could you please send help right away? Yes. 412 Glacier Street. Thank you. Hurry. Please hurry. Is that better? Okay, so the boob story. I was doing my clinical rotation, my psych rotation, and we had gotten through to the last day of the psych rotation and nothing had gone wrong. And everybody was talking about how lucky we were because everybody else, all the other groups, had some weird happening during their psych rotation. Everybody was a little scared about it because you get aggressive patients and stuff, and we were newbies. And Vicky liked that one. So this one of my classmates is walking this woman who's wearing a gown, big lady, and when I say big pendulous breasts, when we're writing medically, they are described as pendulous breasts. So women who have very large, low-hanging breasts. That's just what they're called. And so it's like SOB, means short of breath. And they had to switch it to be politically correct, and now we have to call it short of air. Just because who's going to read a chart that's not medical? No one. But they made us stop saying SOB for short of breath. After that's what we called it forever. So anyway, this lady's wearing a gown. She's walking down the hall, and my classmate, Christy, is trying to, I don't know what she was trying, I don't remember what she was trying to get her to do, but the lady was very agitated. And so Christy was trying to calm her. So I'm standing by the nurses' station with two other student nurses, and I hear this commotion, and we all turn around, and the two girls run behind the counter while I'm watching this scene, right? So Christy's walking this lady down the hall, and she's like, "Now, sir," and the lady freaks out, and she says, "Sir, sir," and she's almost to me. She drops her gown. She's like maybe 7 paces away, and she starts swinging her big pendulous breast in a circle. I have never, of course, I don't watch a lot of things where I would see that, but never in my life have I heard of or seen such a thing. And so she's swinging this big, huge boobie around, and she's yelling, "Does this look like a sir to you?" And when she gets to me, this way actually, when she gets to me, she hits me with her big boob. It's, I was stunned. I just stood there, just completely gobsmacked. I'd been hit with a boob. Like, how do you react to that? And so everything was kind of a blur because it all happened so fast. And I'm not being dramatic. Like, this is my actual, I don't get lost for words. Anyway, Christy gets her gown back on her and leads her back down the hall. And the girls all are like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to lunch." Well, I have to write up an incident report because this lady assaulted me with her breast. I'm like, "Really? I have to write up an incident?" "Yes, you have to write up I'm not hurt. Why do I need to, I really need to write this up? Like, is this going to go in her chart? Oh, no, it's just an incident report on the unit. I don't think she's going to hit anybody else with her boobs. She didn't hurt me. Do we really need, like, I don't want to put a bad mark on her permanent record because in a moment of being upset, she struck me with the boob. She didn't punch me but they made me write up an incident report, which I felt was unfair to this poor woman. So I write up the incident report, and I'm trying to get down the hall to get my lunch so I can go down and eat lunch with the girls. And there was this man that we had who was schizophrenic, and he had a brain tumor, and the brain tumor was making his schizophrenia just totally insane. So they had to admit him to the hospital to try to get him stabilized. So he starts freaking out. My stupid thing died again. He starts freaking out, and they have to restrain him. So they take him in his room, and I'm not in the room for any of this. They take him in his room, and they restrain one wrist and then the opposite ankle to the bed. And they leave him in there, which actually isn't even allowed. You can't restrain somebody and then be out of sight of them, which I just realized this moment. So the nurse goes about her thing. Well, I'm walking down the hall, pardon my language, and this man's like, hey, bitch, come in here. And I'm young. I mean, I was 30 something, but very naive. And so I walk into the room and I'm like, okay, I'll come in here. But now if you're going to use bad words and obscenities with me, I'm leaving. You have to agree to be polite. And he's like, I got to urinate. And I said, what? He said, I got to urinate. I said, oh, you need to pee. I don't think I'm allowed to take you out of restraints. I'll be right back. I got to urinate. I'm like, I know, I'll hurry. So I run down the hall, and his nurse is sitting at the nurse's station eating a salad real quick. I said, hey, the guy that did you guys tie to the bed, he's got to urinate. And she said, oh my gosh, okay, tell him I'll be down there in just a minute. So I run back down the hall. I walk into the room, and the man is still in the bed, but he has taken his penis out of his pajama bottoms, and just the head of it is sticking out from his pajama bottoms. And I don't immediately notice this. And he says, can you see my pecker? And I look, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see it. Total idiot. Which totally cracks him up. And so, they get him untied. And I think he'd peed on himself at that point. So we had to change the bed and everything. I don't think I ever did get lunch that day. But yeah, that was my... Can you see my pecker? Yes, I can. Oh my gosh. I'm so scared to refresh this. I'm so scared if I do it, I'm going to lose the whole page. And then I won't be able to get back on and see the chat. I don't know what to do. I'm going to do it. Oh, it's going to go bad. It says resolving host. That's what it said last time. Ah, crap. Son of a gun. Reload. Okay, I'm going to have to end it because I can't see the Rumble thing anymore. Oh, that's so frustrating. Why? Why can't it be reached? Okay, let's try running diagnostics over there and see if it'll fix it. I'll read the comments over here for now. They're still there. I just can't see them. We're just going to ignore you guys. Okay, comments are flowing in Rumble. New comments. In the book you just read, he perfectly described the state of our current social condition. They worship their gods and don't even know it. Yeah, that's it. And I thought that was a salient point to bring, because I was hoping some people who are in that, who are confused and falling into that, would read it and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I had been indoctrinated. But apparently that's not how they saw. Okay. The DNS server is not responding. No, you did not fix my problem. I don't know what that means, you guys. What does that mean, that the DNS server is not responding? What the devil? This is so... I hate... Okay, hold on. I can solve it this way. So I don't know what that means when the DNS server is not responding. I don't know how to resolve it either. I mean, Rumble's fine. I can pull my chat up here. Oh gosh, there's a bunch. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it won't let me refresh. We don't care about racist homophobia name calling anymore, says Craxon Jackson. No, we don't. RJ said that was great acting. I'm laughing. Thank you. I used to act in high school and college and did some community theater too. Boob rotation, boob chucks. Do not mind me, says huge tracts of land. Yes, you got it. Mammary Mambo. Betty. 20-pound breast struck me in the brain tumor, right? RJ says the Spy Who Shagged Me movie had those woman warriors. Oh, yeah, they had the shooting boobies. I remember those. We watched that recently. Prostate cancer. Piss at will. Oh, my gosh, Gregson. Holden McGroin. Holden McGroin, you're here, sweetheart. I thought you switched to Saturday. No. No switching to Saturday. Do not mind me. I've actually talked about maybe doing a weekend show because, and I think what we're going to do is, I talked to Don about it tonight, because everybody loves Don. And we really want to get the show doing well enough that Don could quit this very difficult job he has and that I could just bring him on paid. It's going to take a lot to get there, but we can do it. And so I talked to him last night. I don't know if it'll be this Saturday, but I said, let's do an hour show on Saturday together, with you sitting second chair, and let's just see how it goes and see what kind of numbers we get and how numbers increase. And, we'll just play it by ear. Let me know if that's something you guys would like to watch. It would be Saturday during the day. Do not mind me. When you search for a page, your URL is translated to an IP address by a DNS server. Okay, but what does that mean? Like, how do I fix it? It's a way to turn numbers into something people can remember. I don't understand any of the words you guys are saying. Thumbs up to you, Holden McGroin. I'll have to leave this here so I can see your comments. You know it will be longer than an hour. It will. You know me so well. That's why I love you guys. Said it there. Okay. I got a couple more things. I almost choked. I'm sorry, first last. What are you going to do when you get hit by the boobies? She was fine until that moment. I just don't think she deserved being, written up over it. Okay, I've got to stop sharing that screen and figure that out again. I think we've got this one and one more and we're done. Hang in there, guys. We've almost made it. Oh, man, it closed this thing tonight is giving me all kinds of trouble. Go down the page. Okay, did that one. Didn't do that one. Is it this one? Let me see if it's this one. No, it's not the one I wanted, but it's not. Trump Ballet, I got that one. It's this one. Facebook. Hold on, let me see if I can find that one, because I'm not going to go over that other one. Got to get another screen going here. I got 2 screens. I definitely need 3. Okay. Do you use VPN? No. Second chair means just somebody that's going to sit in on the show and participate. Co-host, basically. For example, rumble.com is really something like, okay, so how do I fix that the DNS server is down when obviously Rumble is fine because I can get to it on my phone? The DNS server takes Rumble. Oh yeah, I got that. And translates it to an appropriate IP and port. But if you look up server is turned, you are kind of shit out of luck. Okay, all right, that's what I needed to know, if I could fix it or not. That's okay, I can just do it from my phone. I know, AJ. It was quite a shocking thing. Okay, so this is going to, if you guys didn't know this, Instagram got in trouble for promoting an algorithm that promoted pedophilia and child pornography. So if you used a certain hashtag, it would send you child pornography. Oh, we're dying laughing, says Lisa. Hubby wants to know if that happened all in one day. Yes, that was all in an hour time frame. You tell the best stories. Reminds me of that special iceberg. Oh my gosh. That was funny. when I used to substitute teach at the middle and high school, I would promise the kids if they would get all their stuff done, I would tell them a nurse story. Of course, I had to, not share these ones, but DNS server not responding. The DNS of the domain you want to reach is unavailable or browser cannot connect to the internet. Fixes restarting your router or modem checking. Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. That's what I needed. I need a tech person is what I need. I want Don. Don's like, I'll be your roadie. He would be a great roadie. And he'd be a roadie with benefits, which is always better. Shame on me. We're married. It's okay. But he's way worse at the tech than I am. So we got to have him on just for personality. And he does tasks. He's good at doing tasks. Like, babe, will you run this down for me and start the AC? Wonderful at that. Very, very helpful. Just as a person, he's very helpful. Facebook owner to push ahead with plans to launch Twitter rival. Okay, so the reason that this is interesting is Facebook, who owns Instagram, has algorithms that are pushing child pornography that they know about, that they're not fixing. But instead of fixing that, they're going to focus on launching a Twitter rival because they're doing so well with Instagram and Facebook. This is why this is funny. You have such a wonderful husband. He is wonderful. My husband's only fault, let me think if he only has one. I mean, I would have to think really hard to think of another one, so maybe it's only one, is that he keeps everything, boxes to stuff that he bought. And he's a musician, and so he has, I don't know, 8 guitars, maybe 10. I mean, more stuff than we can fit in our house. That's it. But he's so freaking incredible in every other way. I just put up with it. I know I learned a lot about computer stuff tonight too. And I'm so glad I know how to fix that problem now. What's weird is, how can I still look at these? Because they were preloaded. So like the links that we're looking at now, yeah, that's it. Because if I refresh it, it won't work. So I guess once they're preloaded, you don't need the DNS thing anymore. Gosh, we are learning a lot. You guys, let me just brag on this man. So we met when, I think we've been together 13 years. Ever since the comas, I cannot keep track of time, dates, things like that. Like our wedding anniversary, I never get it right. I know it's July 27th or July 29th. I think it's July 29th. But anyway, he works, he leaves the house, he gets up at 4 something, he gets to work, I think by 5:30, works a very difficult, hard, physical job. He's 62, outdoors, in the elements. I mean, some days he comes home and he is just drenched, climbing into heavy machinery that's, like lifts and like construction equipment, climbs into that, which is very physical, and gets it all ready to go back out to re-rent. He works for a company called Boyd Cat. I can call him, like when I had kidney stones, I can call him and say, hey, sweetheart, after that long of a day, so he goes in, he leaves here at 5, and he gets home at 5, and he was working 6 days a week, just half days on Saturday. But anyway, he'll do all that, and then he's got the drive back and forth to Lexington. And I can call him and say, hey, babe, will you stop at Walmart and pick this up? Now, see, to me, if you call me and say, hey, sweetheart, can you stop at Walmart and pick this up? I would really, like, if I had my choice between that and you punching me with medium strength in the forehead, I'd rather take the punch to the forehead. But he's just so good about it. Or I can be out of something in the middle of cooking and say, oh my gosh, I don't have bacon or whatever it is. And, oh, I'll run get it. He's just very thoughtful that way. Not a great gift giver. But I mean, if I tell him what I want, he'll get me what I want. But like as far as being able to think of what to get, he's not super skilled at that. But not because he's an inconsiderate gift giver. How long was I single before Don and I were married? Okay. So I married the kid's dad when I was 23. I think that's right. And And then David was born in 93. We split up in 98. And then I married the awful David. And yes, my son's name is David too. Married the awful David. And I never talk about that just because that person is in the area. And I'm just not going to talk about that. But we were married for a very short time. I don't even think it was 2 years before it wasn't safe to be married anymore. So then, let's see, I graduated from nursing school in 2002. So I think 2003 we split up. And then Don and I met, so in 2003 I would have been 30. Isn't that terrible? That's how much trouble I have with numbers and dates. Okay, so in 2003 we split up. In 2003 David would have been 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. So David would have been 10. So Don and I got together. Maybe six years, maybe 7 years. I was single before we got together. And then we didn't get married until the kids were finished with high school because I wasn't going to move. So I think we've been married 4 years. But we've been together, I want to say 13. You have such a wonderful hubby. I'm kind of jealous. You know, we still have our struggles. He likes to start arguments and start heated arguments. But he's much better than he used to be. He's really calmed down. My boyfriend does too. He's a hoarder. He swears he's going to use everything he saves sooner or later. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. And Don gets very upset if I talk about it too. So I try not to, because he's an incredible man and I don't want people to think negative of him. How long were you single before? Yeah, that's the best I can do with that number. Don can tell you to the date. Well, I can try a different browser, but I can't share screens. I have to be in the same browser. I am helpful, awful. Oh, you play guitar. My husband plays guitar. He plays bass, electric, and acoustic. And then he's pretty good on keyboard, piano. And then he plays trombone. Not often, though. It isn't the DNS server that's down, just that one of the servers in between your computer, your internet provider, and the path to that. Well, where is this thing? I need to go there and fix that. You can also try a different browser. That browser might connect. 58 home renovations. Oh my gosh, you need to come here because we have been in the middle of the studio renovation for 6 years. And he's just too tired. You know, he could have got it done sooner. That's true. But then he started this job and now he's just killed and he will not let me hire anybody to do it. I've kind of taken to just taking little projects and just doing them myself, whether he likes it or not. Like a bad Sandy. I don't know what that means. In my next life, I'm going to marry Don too. Oh, that's sweet. Hulda McGroin laughs. I will, we'll see if we can't hook that up. My boyfriend does too. He's a hoarder. How long? Okay, thanks. You just go by your youngest kid's age for all time calculations. I go by my oldest, actually. Do not mess with the tools, ladies. What tools am I not messing with? I'm decent with tools. Don's teaching me about tools. He'll get on me because something's not done perfectly. That's part of why he doesn't get stuff done, because he's such a perfectionist. I'm like, look, I would rather it not be done as well, but be finished. But he doesn't subscribe to that, or ascribe. Ascribe or subscribe? I don't know which one that is. But I would marry him all over again 100 times. He's wonderful. And when I was so sick, you guys, I mean, that 18 months, no, 2.5 years, 18 intubations. His dad is even like, why don't you just date somebody who's healthier? Because we weren't married yet. And he was there, you know, he was, it was so funny. They would have me on the ventilator and I would be fretful, like they'd turn down the sedation or whatever. And he does this thing where if I'm upset, like if I've had a nightmare or if I'm really upset about something, he'll hold me and he'll put his hand right here. If you've never done this, do it while we're talking. Just take your hand and right there under your collarbones and just press there. It's so soothing. Anyway, I remember laying there and being on the ventilator and being so scared, and him putting his hand there. He's like, "It's okay, sweetheart. You're all right." He's just great like that. And he's adorable. He's super cute. I'd do him. Sorry, I don't mean to ramble on. I know not everybody's got somebody, but I mean, I didn't have somebody for a really long time, so I feel like this has been hard earned. Okay, so Facebook owner to push ahead with plans to launch Twitter rival. This is by. Oh, wait, there it is. Dan Milmo. Well, there's a name. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is pushing ahead with plans to launch a rival to Twitter because public figures reportedly want a similar platform that is sanely run, with the Dalai Lama and Oprah Winfrey on the target list for users. Are you laughing yet? Everybody just fall over onto the floor. I'll give you a minute. I'll scoop you up. They want a similar platform that is sanely run with the Dalai Lama and Oprah Winfrey on the target list. Didn't the Dalai Lama just try to French kiss a 7-year-old? Hasn't Oprah Winfrey's school in Africa been in trouble more than once for raping little girls? I mean, just maybe I dreamt that. These are the two people that are on the target list for something that is sanely run. This is what I'm talking about, critically reading. Okay? The standalone app is codenamed Project 92, and its public name could be Threads, according to a report by the tech news site The Verge. So they're basically looking for an echo chamber for Democrats. When I say Democrats, I don't mean normal people who are Democrats. I mean the crazy ones. That's what I'm talking about. So if you're one of the crazy ones, I still love you, but you're crazy. You need help. We're here to help. The report said Meta's chief product officer, Chris Cox, told an internal meeting on Thursday that the app was the Facebook and Instagram owners' response to Twitter. We've been hearing from creators and public figures who are interested in having a platform that is sanely run, that they believe they can trust